And buonasera a tutti. Good evening, everybody. It is March 5th, 2026, 6 p.m., just past 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Rob Time. And it is episode 105 of What's the Scoop? Of course, as I always do to start off this show, glad to have you guys in today. Glad to have my two buddies here who help make this thing run. And as always, no shortage of topics to discuss between we've got an NHL trade deadline tomorrow. We've got an NFL league year that's going to kick off in the next several days, although the so-called pre-tampering leaks
just
are
call it what it is. It's tampering. It's tampering.
Yeah, are already starting to leak out. And pardon. And we're going to get to all that, spring training, all that and much more. And I'll kick it around the horn, as they say. My buddy up there on the top left, Mr. Robert Zalossi. Rob, how are you doing today?
I don't know how I'm doing this. I have no idea how my voice is working. I don't know what's happening. The fact that I'm even here is a fucking miracle. Excuse my language. I sick beyond belief. It's a mild cold, but it sucks. You guys, that's the weird thing, right? When you get ill, you can't do anything. You just feel so out of it. It's insane. I have stuff I have to do, including this show. And I was just like, all right, I'll muster up a way to do it. But it's just when I'm ill, my body, excuse my language, my body is just like, fuck you. You've done too much. Go sleep. That's literally what my body does when I'm sick. Being sick is the reason I got into more video games other than sports, because I remember when I was in college, this was the middle of COVID, by the way, middle of COVID. I did not have COVID. I had a regular flu, which was wild, a regular flu. And I was like, okay, I'm going to play video games for 20 hours and sleep for 20 hours. And I did that for a solid week. That was my favorite time in college. Just to tell you how nuts college was. That entire week of me being just blatantly ill, smacking teas and lemons, and was my best time in college. Everything else sucked, basically. That should tell you a lot. But yeah, I'm so ill. I can't believe I'm here, but I'm happy I am. So good to be with you guys.
Yeah, as somebody who's done a couple of shows sick in my time, I greatly appreciate and respect that you were able to make it. You were giving us kind of the daily injury report over the last
an actual injury report. I wrote actual injury reports. I was and because it was so funny because sorry to interrupt, Scoop. I went to the doctor on a pre-scheduled appointment a couple days ago when I started getting sick. By the way, I have holes in my mouth, so if you're really rattling, that's what it is.
I don't hear anything.
I literally have holes in my mouth, But I literally got an injury report from the doctor. So I was official injury report, sore throat, questionable, sore throat, probable. Because I didn't know. Because I was it's a mild cold, but I didn't know. So I was okay, let's do official injury reports. Why not?
Yeah, and we were just Brandon and I. We were just both waiting for that FP and cleared to play, and we were glad that we got that earlier today. So
cleared to operate.
Yes, and with that, I'll kick it up to the upper right on my screen. My buddy, that was a great start. My buddy Brandon Furtado, how are you doing?
I was wondering if you were gonna say my brother, my buddy. I was like, what's happening there?
Your bro buddy.
Yeah, because my buddy sounds interesting. That's a new slang term.
That sounds like something that a UK soccer fan would say.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
My brother.
But it's what's funny? Rob remembers. Remembers when I did we didn't call it FAH at the time, but when I did the show with the flu. So
you were bad though. You were
bad.
You were bad, but the thing is your voice was fine.
Yeah,
see, that's what scares me. That's what scares me when doing shows like this. Is the last thing I want is to be liable for a lawsuit. This is a real thing.
I know guys, because you can't. Because what the people on here don't know, because it was again, we were on a different network at the time. This guy kicked me off of a show once because my voice, he didn't trust that how my voice sounded, and he was afraid that I was going to sue him for having me do a show that I wanted to stay on in the first place.
I know that you wanted to stay on, but it's called I can't trust what your parents are going to do. I don't know what your lawyer's going to do to me. I need to cover all bases, man. Like, I need to be careful. Plus, here's why I kicked you off, because we had a show the next day, and I was like, okay, I'm going to save you for tomorrow. And by the next day, you were fine. But you
I still maintain I was fine that night too, but I understand.
You were not. I could tell. But that's the thing. That's why I was scared, because like right now, technically, if my voice goes off during the show and breaks at some point, I'm going to sue Scoop for libel. Even though I said I was going to be on the show, I'm going to sue Scoop for libel because I technically didn't sign a waiver to be on this show. So
we don't. There's not enough. There's not enough hours in the day to discuss the legalese of what would happen if one of us ended up just abruptly leaving the show.
If basically, because this is Scoop's show, because we didn't sign a waiver, if I cannot speak, like, let's put it this way, let's say in like an hour into this show, I just stop speaking, and I can't speak for the rest of my life, I can sue Scoop for everything he has
for the rest
without
of your
a single question.
You're not even going to speak the rest of your life?
I'm just saying, like, it has to be something really intensive, and then Scoop would be liable
for the rest
of
your
life. Oh my God! Sometimes.
Same with me. Like, you think you Shane and Rob think I say crazy shit. But
yeah, but that's dude. Like, I, as the guy who does all the stuff for FAH, I think about, okay, can any of you guys sue me at any time? What for? Like, there's so many specific things that I have to think about. Like, that's kind of aggressive, but I think about everything.
Rob,
if I want to be
Rob has the type of thoughts that you have on mind-bending psychedelic drugs, but he just has them sober.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, it's impressive. That's why, like, sometimes, like, listen, I know I talk a lot. I know we talk a lot. I know we text a lot. When I see at 3 a.m., when I see like 4 paragraphs from Rob on my screen, I'm like, I'll read this in the morning. I'll catch up on it in the morning. I'm not reading it now.
And then this guy has the audacity to go ahead and say that, oh, he doesn't check the chat because it's so active all the time. You're the one who's making it active most of the time.
That is true, but I have it off because my phone. You guys broke my phone for like a day and a half one time.
We broke your phone. What the hell does that even mean?
You literally, there were so many messages that my phone turned off and didn't turn back on for like an hour.
There were so many.
God.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. It was crazy. Anyway, yeah. So Scoop has to be scared because I'm technically doing this on my own volition, but I'm also able to sue him if my throat dies in the next hour.
I'll get a DocuSign. I'll get a DocuSign ready behind the scenes.
Do it.
With
have
that,
my people call your people.
Yeah. And with that immensely interesting intro, or whatever you want to call it, we've
talking
got
about suing your best friends. That's a great way to start a show.
Yeah, really.
How can I sue you?
Everybody sues.
Oh my lord!
Dude, that reminds me. Wait,
everybody sues in this country.
What in God's green earth does that remind you of?
Wait, but Scoop, you've done lawyer stuff before. Isn't it amazing the amount of stuff people can just sue other people for?
Well, I mean,
you can just randomly sue people for anything. It's so stupid.
Well, technically, yeah, but I mean, if you're not successful, then you got to pay the lawyer fees and all that other stuff. So I mean,
right?
Yeah, you technically can, but I mean, it's hardly advisable.
True.
But I mean, like, one of the first cases we covered in my torts course last year was that infamous case from, I want to say it was the 90s, with the McDonald's woman with the coffee.
Right. Which wasn't successful, was it?
I think it was, if I remember correctly, I think it was successful to like a somewhat degree. I don't know if she got everything, but I know she got something. Blaze, great. Face blue smiling. Carson Shear, our buddy from Michigan, is in the house. For those who haven't gotten a chance, go and check out the Carson Share Show on YouTube. He does a lot of kind of instant reaction type coverage. He's big into Detroit sports, into basketball and other things. I'm very curious to see what he's got to say about the recent Pistons play. I haven't actually gotten to talk to him about the now infamous Hornets brawl from last month that jarred memories of the Ron Artest malice at the Palace. And I still look back, and I always love when we were on the show and basically talk. I forget who was saying what, but one of us was saying, "Oh, this is horrible for basketball," and the other one was saying, "Oh, I think Rob was the one who said, oh, yeah, absolutely,
this is fantastic. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic."
And I mean, I'll admit that I partially loved it too, but that was just because for some reason it's just hilarious to see our guy Isaiah Stewart in the middle of this. I also I don't know. I feel like sometimes basketball is just so 3-point heavy that seeing some of that.
Not anymore. Have you watched basketball in the last 3 months? They're barely hitting threes.
Do you not remember 6 weeks ago we were on this show and we were talking about that freaking 150 to 135 Hawks game before Trae Young got moved?
True, but that wasn't all 3 ball. There was a lot, but there wasn't many.
If you're getting up to that level, you're definitely playing some decent amount of 3 ball. Carson said, "Haha, oh yeah, that
center."
Give me that one more time.
I was gonna say, and you definitely don't have a center, because if Rob's saying it wasn't all the 3 ball, then you definitely don't have a center. Because ain't nobody blocking
the Bulls' current center is 6'9" right now. What are you talking about?
I was just gonna say, wasn't the Rockets or the Bulls center like 6'9" or something? Jody Moncrief said, "Please trade AJ Brown to use." Then use better pay up, as they would say.
I don't think that's very likely at this point.
From what I know, the current asking price is a 1 and a 2, and my best understanding is that they're not willing to knock down that far from that. And I mean, we all know Howie Roseman's modus operandi when it comes to trades. Carson said, "Oh yeah, that brawl was crazy." It
was fun.
It was good theater. It was good theater. I'll put it that way. And excuse me, sorry. There was this guy. I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the guys who was doing the commentary or the play-by-play or whatever it was. And he basically was talking about, this is out of control. Oh, this is such a black mark for the game. Bro, that is the most eyes that have been on a Hornets game in years, probably.
That's funny. It's funny you say that, because are you seeing what the Hornets have won like 7 straight games? They're balling right now.
I saw since January. There's Josh saying, "What's up, boys?"
Josh saying, "What's up, boys?" Josh, how you doing? Josh, I'll throw this question at you. I like throwing questions out to the people who watch this show, especially our friends. And I'll toss this one out to you. George Lombard, does he make his debut this season at the major league level or not?
So you know what I'm thinking too about, because they showed this on SportsCenter tonight, right before I came back upstairs. The Hornets since January 22nd are what there's because I think they said like it was since I forget what it was. There was something that they were talking about that they have the best record in the NBA for the last month and a half. They're 16.
Fantastic.
They're 16 and 3.
Fantastic, dude. They are fantastic.
Yeah.
But
we said that. We said back in late January, don't be surprised if the Hornets make a run. That's how good they are, and they're gearing up to make a run.
Josh responded to my George Lombard Jr. comment and said, no chance, which I do think is probably the likely answer. The Yankees don't do things like that. That I will slightly disagree with. They did get somewhat aggressive on Volpe. If I remember correctly, I think they did that with Torres. If I'm I'm far less confident on that than I am on the Volpe thing. But I agree that I would give him this year at AAA unless his hit tool massively has taken a step from last year. I do think his third base and shortstop defense I do think is pro ready. But I do agree I let that bat marinate in Scranton for a little bit longer. Obviously, the main guy that all of us have our eye on this year, as far as prospects are concerned, is Spencer Jones. Because this is, if anybody, I don't know if there's any. Forget it, prospects. I don't know if there's anybody in the organization who has more on the line and more to prove this year than Spencer Jones.
He's had a good spring, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Quincy
but the
Jones
problem,
had a nice bat.
but here's the problem. Jones is exactly what we didn't want, kind of, because in was it in a small sample size of like 9 at bats. He had like 3 home runs. He had 3 hits. It was like, but all 3 were solo home runs, or they were home runs, and the other 6 at bats were strikeouts. So it was like,
I'll say this. I couldn't put less stock into actual statistics from spring training.
Exactly. Yeah.
no,
like-
but I'm saying that the exact scouting report on him was that home run or bust kind of thing. And I
Oh
was
yeah,
like,
no, absolutely.
that's what we've seen.
The scouting report on him is basically what we were afraid Aaron Judge would be.
Yeah.
And so, which ironically, perhaps to some extent, ironically at least, that was kind of the comp on him was a poor man's Aaron Judge. So, we'll see how that goes. But again, that's the main thing I can think of with regard to I'm not going to go into the whole Grisham thing because I yapped back and forth with Jody on that for a while, a couple weeks ago. But essentially, I think that that's basically what they were doing with the Grisham thing, is kind of seeing how the this year played out with what Jones would do at AAA and then move off of him. Josh Batika says Florial. Yeah, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. I don't want to go down that whole rabbit hole again, but we all know what happened with Florial. We know what happened with Chance Adams and freaking Justin Sheffield and everybody and their mother. Unfortunately, so which is what's fascinating to me is that the guys who have popped out of the farm system have mainly been those not top prospects, and it's been the top prospect. But I think part of that is media fault because, everyone hypes up our top prospects to be the next, not to cross over with religion here, but basically the next baseball Jesus. And unfortunately, that I think people forget, like there's a bell curve with every prospect, right? So there's like a sort of the middle 20 to 80 percentile, like in terms of outcomes. And those are obviously, that's, where the most likely is. But people get so caught up in what they're told in that sort of top quintile that they consider anything below that to be a bust, which is really screwed up, in my opinion. And I think that's part of the issue with prospects is that we look at guys as busts, or at least a lot of fans of certain teams, particularly the Yankees do, that we look at guys as busts if they don't hit that top level. Whereas, I'm sorry, if you're looking at the 2080 scale, if you got a lot of 50 value guys on your team, you're in a very solid position. If you're flanking those guys with a couple of free agents and very good veterans, that is very much a team that can get you into the playoffs and can win you some playoff games, depending on how your roster is structured and who they're flanked by. But
Speaking on a religion thing, sorry, Scoop. Can I ask a dumb question?
Yeah.
There's no dumb questions on this show.
Okay, here's a dumb question. I want to go to Mariners Astros on my birthday, but I have a problem. It's kind of a bad one. My Orthodox Easter is on my birthday, so I can't go.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm kind of sad about it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say it because it's like when it comes to religion, like it's what I mean.
You can't mess around. That's the thing. Like,
yeah.
But all we're gonna do, it's gonna be fun, but all we're gonna do is just sit around on a table and talk and eat eggs.
You know how my idea works when it comes to religion. Like I believe in God. Yeah, it's all well and good, but like on Sundays, football's my religion.
Exactly.
Or when football's away, if it's baseball that's on, Sunday night baseball, whatever it might be, I'm like, no, that's what I'm watching. I'm watching sports on my weekends. That's what I'm doing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then during the week I work. God, like to me, God's not going to punish me for doing things that I enjoy as long as they're legal activities. Like as long as I'm in the comfort of my own home doing legal activities. God's not going to punish me for that.
You know what also sucks though? Normally on Orthodox Easter, where's Uncle Leopold? He's gone. He's gone. Scoop is back in Mississippi. He's gone. Sorry, Kenny. We'll get you can make a AI what's the Scoop thing. You already made one, but if you update that, we can use it. The AI logo of Scoop is Uncle Leopold. No, but But I was gonna say, because I think the thing is though, like, I mean, I'll probably end up going during the week anyway to that series. It just starts on my birthday, but I'm just like, oh no, I was gonna say this. WrestleMania is normally on Orthodox Easter. It's not this year, but it normally is.
Yeah.
So normally I hang out with my buddies, and what we do on Orthodox Easter is the parents are talking and we're watching guys wrestle each other. Oh, Kenny, we were gonna do something like that on Thursday, but yeah, we can come on Wednesday and do that too. I'm down. We can do a Wednesday Thursday double. We were gonna do a Frequency Threadsy on Thursday.
It depends what time for me, because I'm obviously working on Wednesdays, so it depends for me. But
yeah, no, we'll join though. We'll join. I should have time, and I know we're gonna do a football after hours one on Thursday after Scoop Show.
I know
we just haven't worked out the timing yet, or I haven't because I've been sick and I can't announce it. I'm dying here, so I can't announce anything or do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll probably join you, Kenny, for sure. I'm all the way in. But
I was gonna say I'm getting excited for and it's a good thing that we started with baseball. We kind of led in with baseball, because tomorrow obviously starts the WBC, the pool play for the Americans. So that's huge.
Yeah, they look so good in both of the exhibitions.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and then yesterday we watched I didn't watch the Korea game. They ended up smacking them. But the Chinese Taipei Australia game was such a grind. Hell yeah, I love it. We'll triple promote the crap out of this. I love it. Well, we can't combine shows Wednesday because Shane won't be available. So we still want to do Thursday, but we can do like a triple promotion kind of thing, Kenny. I'm so in. If you want to just, we'll do like 2 days of just nasty frenzy stuff, which I would love. No, but essentially, what has happened is, well, okay. So Chinese Taipei Australia was a grind yesterday.
Oh.
Bizarre looks. What's his name? The Astros prospect. Bizarra, or how do we say the guy's name?
If you're talking about Bazana, he's not an Astros prospect.
What is he, an Indian or not? He's a Guardians prospect, isn't he? What team is he a prospect of? He's the Guardians prospect. Yeah. He looks so good. Like he smacked the ball out of the Tokyo.
He was the number 1 overall pick 2 years ago.
Yeah, he looks really good. He's got a bat, but he's got a really interesting bat rotation. Like, I'll grab my bat and show it. It's really weird. Hold on.
Oh God, you're gonna demonstrate this.
I have my bat with me. I'm right here.
This is gonna be interesting. Yeah, because his stance reminds me of something like out of the '90s. It reminds me almost like a Chuck Knobloch, almost kind of like way he sets up.
Oh, that's an interesting pull.
This works. I'm so excited. Please don't.
That is one crisp bat. My goodness.
It's Shane's bat. Shane gave me. This is Shane's old bat. He gave me it. No, but
Love
what
that.
I do normally is like I just do this. You know, I just kind of just twirl it back and forth like this. He goes like this. He straight up just circular motions the hell out of the bat before he swings. Which I don't know how you go from this to all of a sudden going.
I feel like
it's wild to me.
I feel like that would just give me a lot of ways for everything to break down and things to go wrong.
Exactly, because you're just doing this like circular motion, but most guys, including me, that I've seen just go doof, doof.
That's kind of what I did when I played. Yeah.
Right. And so it's really interesting that he ends up just going like ring around the rosy, like circular, and it's a wide circle too. It's not just like he just goes.
I was waiting for you to hit that. I was waiting for you to hit that poster over there.
Oh, I'm way far away from it. But
it looks a lot closer, but I have no depth perception.
Like, I've seen that stance, and it's like it looks like it looks like every like '90s player, like every like mid-level '90s player you can imagine. Like
right,
it looks like it's almost like mix of like Chuck Knobloch and like how Jim Leyritz was for the Yankees, like with the being back here, Like it's
Like
weird
wait,
to look
like
at his
all the
stance.
way
Like,
back?
it works.
Like he's just way back like this, kind of. Like how back was he? Like just
It's
so back?
oh my god, I gotta send it because it's how do you spell this kid's name? How do you I saw it during the game. How do you spell his name?
It's like
Which name?
B.A. Banza.
Like
Or
Banza
however-
Kuduro? No, it's Bazzana, I think. Gary Sheffield. Keith says Gary Sheffield, one of my favorite batters of all time. That was the guy that I was thinking of when we were doing that whole bat conversation.
Yeah, Sheffield.
Oh yeah,
It's
I found him. Yeah, this stand, like, I have to find this. Like,
yeah, because
'cause they're
what I
talking
do
about
is I
the-
just do this. I just kind of go up, down, just so I can feel the bat in my hands before I go, before I swing. But it's crazy to me. I when I saw it, I was like, what the hell? And then the other
it's
aspect,
like high too.
his
Like,
stance,
almost,
yeah,
like,
no, it's
straight up
high.
high too. It's like
It's
I'm
wild,
looking at
man.
this, like,
It's so weird.
Oof.
oh my god! Yeah, wait, yeah, I'll send it to you right now. I just found it. Should I send? No, I'll put it. I'll put it in our group chat. That's where I'm gonna put it because it's
Yeah.
it's ridiculous how crazy this is.
Yes.
Why not put this? Hold on. It's like dumb. Why? Like, I'm trying to share it from YouTube, but it's not me. Okay, I got it. I put it in our FAH pod chat, so you guys will see it in there. Like, it's
Yeah.
like right before he swings, you'll see how crazy this stance is. Like,
It's
this
so
is
wild to me. It's
like
wild. Like I looked
I've never
at it last
like, I
night.
didn't.
This
Look
guy's
at your-
like crazy how he approaches it. Like I've never seen a
Like-
guy have a stance like this where it's just so it's you see like I'll zoom in a little bit. It is so crazy how this guy approaches like his stance. Like I've never
It's like
seen
it's
a
like
guy.
it's like both his arms are up high. It's so weird. Like, you're supposed to keep your
it's
back
so
shoulder up.
bizarre.
But look at this. Both are high. Like,
Yeah, it's so bizarre.
elbow and his back elbow are up.
It's crazy. I mean, when I saw it last night, I was like, I've never seen anyone do anything close to that. And to be able, again, to, as Brandon talked about with me yesterday, to be able to go at that stance and then just smack the ball 300, 400 feet at the Tokyo Dome is unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's the only thing I'm worried about is like being able to hit like the high pitches and the waist high pitches well because he's high up. But I'm like, if a pitch is like, you have to put your hands down to try to get through to a pitch that's low. I think he's gonna have trouble hitting pitches lower in the zone. Like,
right,
it's-
and he showed that last night too, because a lot of the Chinese Taipei pitchers pitched him very low in the zone last night.
yeah, and you're just swinging right over it. Like, you can't. You got to keep your hands and your elbow up. But that front elbow to me being like almost eye level, him keeping that up is insane to me.
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
And the other aspect of it too that was surprising him, that game wasn't good last night, but there were some pieces that were really fun. The Chinese Taipei pitchers, like, they hold for a second, almost like they're about to do a balk, and then I've never seen someone hold. Yeah, like, it's wild, right, Scoop? I mean, we talked about this a bit last night.
We talked about it not so much with the Chinese Taipei pitchers, but we talked about it a little bit with the Nippon pitchers. At least that was where I entered the conversation. And I mentioned, Dodgers and Yankees fans will remember Hiroki Kuroda was really well known about with bats. Masahiro Tanaka, my opinion, one of the great postseason and big game pitchers of the past 10 to 15 years in New York. And I think, if I remember correctly, I think Daisuke did that with Boston. If I remember correctly, I'm trying to
he didn't have much of a pause, but he kind of like dropped down in his delivery.
Yeah.
Well, there was a drop down in his delivery.
Yeah. But I do remember a lot of people saying, "Oh, that should be a balk. That should be a balk." And I do remember pretty much every time we faced a rival team, somebody was chirping about that.
Yeah, well, I think there's no like set rule for how to bat and how to pitch, right? In terms of like motion, because everyone's stance is a little different.
You just can't stop your motion.
Well, that, and also it's your foot has to stay. If you're pitching, your back foot has to stay on the rubber until a certain point. Yeah.
Right. So, but you can still kind of have whatever form, because you've seen guys in spring training do like the underhand.
Oh, I was just about to get into that. My favorite pitcher in terms of his motion and his windup. Well, I don't know if you'd really call it a windup because he's a relief pitcher. So but his pitching from it's just his full motion. Go look at, unfortunately, he's in the AL East this year. Go look at Blue Jays pitcher Tyler Rogers. This guy has the lowest release point in baseball by a long shot. And he pitches similarly to how I was learning to pitch when I was younger, which a lot of people don't like because they I'll say a lot of quote unquote old heads don't like. But if you watch Moneyball, it's the Chad Bradford type of release,
right?
And that's been, I wouldn't say commonplace is too extreme, but it's becoming more accepted, I guess, for lack of a better word, and it's becoming more embraced. I think would be the term, because here we are.
Oh,
so look at this. I mean,
that's him with the Giants, which is where he played until 2 years ago. He was with the Mets last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll switch us up a little bit here so you can see it closer. Look at that. I mean, that's.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about Asian pitchers, like when we were talking about the Asian pitchers too. It's like, and it's weird because like Daisuke's pitching stance changed a little bit over time, but it was like, but his early stance, he would do like what all the Asian pitchers do, go over, like be straight up, over the head, then turn, kick, and fire.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there was no pause in his delivery. Like it was slow. Like the build up to his actual release was slow, but Asian pitchers had that pause to it. Or it's like people remember when Nestor Cortez was really good for the Yankees.
I knew that I had forgotten somebody. Thank you.
He would do that to throw off hitters' timing. It wasn't his natural throwing motion, but he would do it to throw off hitters' timing, and it worked for a while. And then obviously change his arm slot, delivery, whatever, like, kind of do stuff like that. But people kept saying, "Oh, it's so close to a balk," because he wouldn't stop his motion, but he would like swing his leg a little bit, hold it up, like slowly raise it, or slowly kind of swing it out a little bit and then throw. It was weird, but it was, you've had so many like great, like the thing is like, you want to fool the batter as much as possible without balking, like. Yeah, and then Josh brings up Hideo Nomo. Nomo was another one, but like
truly one of the great pitchers that came over really in the last maybe ever.
And everybody remembers Luis Tiant.
Yep, Luis Tiant. Yep,
Tiant had that twist in his delivery that was really cool. But so it's like
this is gonna be good for those who can see this. This is going to be good, and I hope people who can't, if they're just listening to it, I hope they'll come back later.
Yeah. Let me see if I have this open. You can.
I wonder if it's gonna run. I wonder if it's gonna run choppy.
It is.
Yeah, it's a little choppy,
but like it's. Yeah, just the way he pitches, it's doable.
It's fire.
That is freaky to me. But that's my question though. That kind of is that more likely to get you Tommy John because you're that?
A big part of the reason why pitchers do that now is because it's less likely, it's less stressful on the ulnar collateral ligament and the other elements that can that factor into your likelihood to need a surgery like Tommy John, because pitchers who pitch that way tend to throw at a lower velocity in general,
right,
and are typically more about pinpointing rather than they are about overwhelming you with velo. Like you'll very. I don't know who the hardest throwing submariner was the last 10 years, but I know they weren't a hard throwing
There's
pitcher.
not many.
Yeah.
And really over the last few years, like pitchers, like I can think of Yankees pitchers who really did the sidearm thing more than the submarine thing, like Clay Rapata, Cody Epley. We had Darren O'Day for a little while. He kind of did that. Tim Hill, sort of ish, but that he takes it to a level I haven't really seen. And I'm referring to Tyler Rogers there. I really wanted him in New York. I was tilted that he went to Toronto. Josh says that's why Tanaka was able to do what he did. That's their practice. Well, the Asian pitchers pitch all year. And another thing I'll throw into that is that at least in Japan, I don't know how this works in other places like Korea and whatnot, but at least in Japan, they don't pitch every 5th day like American pitchers do. They pitch based on the week itself, not based on a so-called every 5th day or whatever.
Yeah, like a more succinct time schedule. It's just like based on
It's more rigid. So I think that probably helps at least some pitchers. I'm sure it's not this ubiquitous, but I think that probably helps some of them because it's more of a just routine, for lack of a better word. Because even if you're pitching every 5th day in America, you got off days, you got double headers, you got you're gonna throw. You might throw 120 pitches. I mean, not this day and age, but you might throw 120 pitches one start and then 75 the next. So, excuse me. But yeah, Josh has a lot of great points here that I'm glad he said some.
I was gonna say because we got the Tokyo Dome background, right? Because we got that up, and we know the WBC for the U.S. men is starting them.
And they are in Houston, right? Are they playing in Houston? Wait, are they playing in Houston or Miami?
I think it's Houston.
I think they're in the Houston pool, right? I'll double check, but I think it's the Houston pool.
Excuse me.
I need to see. Yep.
I guess my biggest question is not tomorrow against Brazil, but do you think Great Britain give them any concern? Because I don't think Brazil does. But is Great Britain that much of a worry on Saturday?
No, not at all.
Because
not even close.
We talked about potentially like who's going to give them a struggle in that pool? Then is anyone going to give them an issue? Italy's going to give them a problem? No.
I think the U.S. is going to walk right through it. I can't see anybody there really giving the U.S. a fight. That's why we did the whole thing like a week and a half ago, or was it last week?
The bracket.
The bracket, and it was like, I'm like, I can't see a single team here giving the U.S. a fight until we get to the usual suspects like PR, DR, Japan, like those 3. That's basically it. Everybody else to me is like
and quite frankly, I put Japan decently above the other 2. I think.
And speaking of that, the Dominican Republic struggled in their back-to-back set against Detroit, and I understand that it's like a scrimmage.
Well, that's why I said Japan, because other than the U.S., they're really the only other team where that rotation or those pitchers they have available would just make me perhaps sleep with one eye open, because there's no other country, frankly, that I look at and I like. I mean, there are other teams that I think that our lineups can go mano a mano, but you start throwing pitchers into the mix, no one's striking the fear of God in me until maybe other than maybe Japan.
But that's a problem across the board in the WBC this year. Is the pitching is terrible. I watched Canada against Toronto. And I'm like, I watched Canada against Toronto, and Canada.
That sounds so weird, by the way. I watched Canada against Toronto. That just sounds so bizarre.
I know, but I watched because I wanted to see how bizarre it is. And Canada gave up bases loaded by like the 2nd inning. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Like, I get it. It's a scrimmage, whatever. You're gonna walk some people. You're not, but it's like these pitching staffs are really bad. and they're going
Because-
to be
because,
bad
yeah.
across the board this
Because of-
weekend. Like,
Because if Brazil does that tomorrow against the U.S., it'll be like 8-0 in the second inning. So it's like
exactly. Yeah.
Teams in general are just getting washed in spring training right now. I mean, the Yankees lost, I think, by 15 today. The Padres beat the Mariners 27-6.
Yeah, it was 12. It was 12-0 in the second inning, and I was like, I'm not gonna watch that.
Oh my!
Like it's just you're seeing football scores in spring training, and I'm just like,
I can't remember
Right.
seeing that.
That being said, I do think a decent portion of that is because some of these guys are have their eye on the WBC.
Yeah.
Well, also because of the WBC, you're having also a lot more single A guys play significant minutes on these
Yeah, well,
rosters.
that's part of what I meant. Yeah, and that's why when we were talking at the beginning of the show, that's why I basically said I don't put a lot of stock into individual player statistics in spring training because this guy, I mean, like Ryan McMahon is trying to play shortstop, and this pitcher's working on probably adding this to his arsenal. Or this guy is just trying to go deeper into counts. Like most everybody's working on something, so they're usually more honed in on those one or two things they're trying to add to their game than actually going out there and trying to play major stats.
And Josh is right. Split squad. I hate split squad. I think split squad's stupid.
Yeah, Josh said, he said that shit always happens. Split squad schemes produce this. Pretty sure I just misspoke.
Why do we do split squad? Split squad is stupid. Why? Why do we do spring breakout?
Because you want to also. I think one of the big reasons they do it is just because they want to see what else they have in the minors. So they break the teams up and bring a lot of the other guys into play just to see that how everybody looks, I guess, for a little bit. But
don't you do that in
liked
watching minors
either,
anyway? Scoop, do you think it's as stupid as I think it is or no?
I mean, quite honestly, I don't fully really understand the point of it to a degree where it happens as much as it does. Like, the exhibition games in general, but particularly the split squad games. I mean, I've heard arguments for it, but I'm not a fan of them.
Yeah, it makes no sense to me. Just watch the guy. You can get a lot from watching a guy play in a single A regular season game. But
I think the biggest thing too is sometimes in those split squad games you're going to get guys who wouldn't play in a normal game anyway, like in a normal spring training game even. You're going to get them against possibly AAA and major league guys, and so you want to see what they're going to do. I think that's the biggest argument for it. But it's giving the minor league guys more work on top of what they already have, just so you can get a bigger picture of them too.
Yeah, so they barely get any pay. They don't get any good housing, and you want to give them extra work to see what they can do and probably not do much. Because none of these single A guys are ready for MLB pitching right now. None of them are. No, clearly.
No. But the thing is, like, they might not play, like, they might come into the game against a AA or AAA guy who's a league or two above them and impress, and then all of a sudden they're on the radar. So, like, that's kind of, I guess, I mean, it's not the biggest, or best reasoning for it, but that's one of the reasons I would think. It's just you just want to see what you really have in some of the younger guys who you're not going to see, all year, who might be in single A playing like 30 games or whatever it is. So,
yeah, there was a which it came out a few moments ago, but I wasn't sure if we were going to dive into it. But the report that Rob just put through, I think it was Rob who just put it through.
Yeah.
But there was a discussion that the Colts are holding court on discussions for linebacker Zaire Franklin. And apparently the 49ers also are telling teams they want above a second rounder for Mac Jones.
Here's the deal, guys. I'm really pissed off by how NFL media handles themselves from the day after the combine ends until March 7th or 9th.
You and me both, brother.
I just think this is so stupid. Like
Yeah.
people act like this, like people on social media, particularly, act like the salary cap doesn't exist when it does, and
Yeah.
players need to get trade like the Zaire Franklin thing. Right after, it's like they're trading him because of cap concerns. Some guys don't want to restructure their deals. Another team can take on that money, and they'll happily do it for a guy like Zaire Franklin. This is what happens in this league. And it sucks because you lose some talent here and there and blah, 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 blah. But, like, this is what sport is in this time of year. But people on social media and even NFL media themselves literally put out these reports. And, we read them as Scoop just read with the Zaire Franklin thing. And us three here, we all know, like, hey, it's a cap. It sucks, but it's a cap issue. We'll see where he goes, blah, blah, we move on. But people look at that and it's like, oh my God, it's content. Oh my God, this Pro Bowler is getting moved, blah, 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 blah. It's like, guys, there's structure to this. This is why this occurs. And that's the thing. Like, stop acting like these kind of things create news when, yeah, some of them do create news for some reason or another. But realistically, until the rosters shake up in, well, basically the last weekend of August when the final cuts happen and whatever, the rosters are always going to be in flux. There's surprise cuts. There's surprise free agency signings. And don't get me wrong, we will cover free agency. We're going to do all that stuff. But I'm always the older I get, the more I think we have to understand that we have to do this under the proviso that more moves are going to be made. And teams know, especially with cap and money, the NFL, these teams have cap specialists who are like, hey, this guy doesn't want to restructure his deal. Can we move him for something? We'll take a draft pick and get a younger player and redo the process over and over. But people look at these deals, these moves, the Zaire Franklin thing, and Colts fans are like, why are we getting rid of him? Blah, blah. Damn it, my throat. God damn it. Okay.
Careful.
Why do you care? It's a cap thing. It happens. It's no big deal. Move on. You're going to get someone else that can maybe do equal or better impact. That's the goal. Why are you freaking out so much over losing these guys when you probably knew you were going to lose them anyway? I don't understand how this works. Or why. I understand why it works. I just don't understand fans' reality of, like, they don't think it exists. $301 million is not a lot of money.
Because fans are too emotional. If they ran the team, then everybody, it would be complete chaos. We've always said that. Like, it's not.
What is fan short? Fan is short for fanatic. It's like literally like it's the emotional stuff all ties into it. You and I, Brandon, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago in baseball with the fans who, for whatever asinine reason, thought we could sign trade for Scooble and trade for Skeens and sign the freaking second coming of Catfish Hunter or whatever. But
it's even the same with what's going on with the Colts. Like even moving away from Zaire Franklin, they said after last season, get rid of Shane Steichen. Do you realize that if Daniel Jones would have stayed healthy, you would have made the playoffs? Do you not realize that?
With Daniel Jones, like, can we? Like, I feel like we got skipped over that.
Yeah. Like we're all fans in the day. Like, see, I know what Josh is saying, but a lot of fans do make sense. There's times where they do, but there's a lot of times where it's like, even in these deals, like I was seeing quite literally for the past week, I've been seeing Bears fans. They're becoming so damn insufferable. They lose their mind over every big name that's out there. They're like, we see that Max Crosby, is on the market. I'm like,
but he's not. He's not.
But he's not, because the Raiders literally have said they will not give him up unless they get a treasure trove of picks and possibly a player or two. They've said this. So, like, he's not on the market unless they are absolutely, just like with AJ Brown, Howie Roseman will not move him unless they are absolutely blown away by what they get in return. So you're not going to offer a bag of chips and a 7th-round pick from Crosby, just like with AJ Brown. Patriots fans are convinced, our Patriots fans especially, are convinced they can get him. What the hell do you have that the Eagles would want? Besides Christian Gonzalez, what the hell do you have that we would want? Tell me right now. Because you don't
Josh
have
says
anything.
Josh says he could definitely do better than the Jets than what they've done.
I mean, everyone can. It's
I will say
can.
when it's actively known that when it came out that your owners having little kids talk about Madden grades in factoring into actual decisions, I'm still hopeful that wasn't true, but it's so Jets enough that I do believe it is.
I mean, look at Joe Shane. Look at Joe Shane's son, who said, "Oh, we shouldn't get rid of Saquon," and Joe Shane was like, "Yeah, but like,
but what? Like, they had the money.
Yeah,
they could have done it.
Yeah, but it was funny
because but as I continue to say, Rob and I had this argument last night. I mean, all three of us kind of did, but I had this argument last night. I've listened to people try to convince me that he could have had even remotely the season in New York that he had for Philly behind their offensive line.
It's not about that. I don't give a shit. It's Saquon Barkley. You keep him around. He makes your team better, and you figure out a way to build a team around him. I don't care. Well,
after 7 years, they could. After 7 years, they couldn't figure out a damn way to keep. Or 6 years, they couldn't figure it out.
And that's a stupid.
So, what makes you think in the next 4 years they're going to figure it out?
That's the issue. That's the issue, though. That's the issue, and this is the thing that I don't understand. When you have, first off, let's go to the Raiders, right? The Raiders is a good example. You have a Hall of Fame level talent in Max Crosby, and they did nothing for him in 4 years. Nothing. Right. It's unbelievable. And I get it, right? This is all sports. Teams are going to do this all the time where you have a generational star and whatever, but then you have to play this cat and mouse of, are we going to keep him? How much are we going to pay him? Blah, 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 blah. We go through this every year, and it's like, okay, either you're going to actually help him build the team or you're going to move him. And that's my thing with the Max Crosby thing. Max Crosby right now has the most possible value you can get in a trade. You can say, we're open for business for Max Crosby. Send us offers. People will send you a boatload. Do it. He doesn't fit your timeline anymore. Move on. He doesn't want to be there. Same thing with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett said, I didn't want to be there. The only reason he went back is because they paid him a bunch of money, and I was he's still not happy there.
Yeah, it's still a massive bag.
He's still not happy there. They're not winning any of their games. As bad as this sounds, which it kind of does, but this is the reality we are in the offseason. These players are assets. Use them. If a player of Myles Garrett's caliber, hell, even Saquon's caliber the year before you're supposed to pay him, whatever, like Jerry Jones, to his credit, and the trade wasn't that good. It just wasn't, but it's fine. Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons, he wanted out. Green Bay was their best option. I get it. They didn't have that much leverage. It wasn't that good of a deal. They still moved him. They still got something. This isn't... I don't understand why this is so complex. If a guy is not happy in their current situation, and I understand you have to do what's right by the team and this, that, and the other, but for Max Crosby in particular, he's clearly not happy there. And your timeline doesn't fit with his. Move him. Get a couple draft picks. Do something. This is so stupid to me. Why play a cat and mouse game? And also, let's add this: the Jets. The Jets are thinking, okay, we have all these draft picks to get better. We believe we can get better next year. You don't even know who your quarterback is. Trade Breece Hall for a haul of some kind. The Chiefs were interested in him and apparently gave a really good package at the trade deadline. and the Jets said no for some stupid reason. I don't understand. I don't get it.
But you know what it is? There's two things with this. It's because these front offices for these crap teams, it's two things. In their mind, they think a bird in the hand is worth more than two in the bush. And then they also think that because if they get rid of him and they don't know what they're going to do with those picks because they're inept, because they're just brain dead, that it's like, I guess it's like the fear of the unknown for them, because we're losing a great player, and then also we don't know what to do with the picks because now we have to possibly replace that on top of the needs that we have already. So it's like they don't know how to manage those assets and how to balance their team well. So that's why they always end up being in the top 10. So I always see the Raiders, the Jets, the Giants, Washington. Like, it's always these different things. Like, it's when you have, and in any sport, bad ownership and a bad front office will always kill you. We always say that.
Yep.
It's
Right.
like and so it's like when we watch these things, we're like, oh, how can this team not move them, or how could this team move them so early, or whatever it is. Like, it's like they don't know what they're doing because they're just stupid. That's the bottom line. They're just stupid.
And then you look at the bottom of the screen of all the transactions I put down here.
Thank you for that, by the way.
They're all smart teams. The Chiefs and the Rams. The Chiefs know that they can trade an asset in Trent McDuffie.
Yep.
And get premium value, which they did. And they're like, okay, we can figure this out in the draft. We're ready to move on from him. We can't pay him. We'll go to the draft. And the Rams are like, guess what? We have Matthew Stafford. We don't know how much long he has left. We want to win a ring. We want to win one more with him. We were literally 4 plays away last year. 2 smart organizations making a smart move. Even if you think the Rams overpaid for McDuffie, and they probably did a little bit, it doesn't matter. The Lions trading Montgomery, let's be real. They want to build around Gibbs a lot more. And they were trending towards this anyway. Let's see what else. The Bills with DJ Moore. There you go. Bills with DJ Moore. The Bears, Caleb Williams and DJ Moore don't have a good connection. Okay.
Yep.
Let's Buffalo needs a receiver. And by the way, they still need another one in the draft. They're probably going to draft another one. It's a pretty good class. DJ Moore comes in with Buffalo. Who cares what Buffalo gave up?
Yep.
Who cares? You get a receiver. You help Josh Allen. You're one step away from the Super Bowl in an AFC that, let's be honest, might be pretty crappy again next year. And then for the Bears, get value, reset, move on. These are smart organizations making smart moves. And then you have, the Raiders with Crosby, stuck in a mud. Garrett last year, stuck in a mud. And yet, all these good organizations, whether you think the value is good or not good, they're making moves because of the timeline. They understand the timeline that they're in, what they need to do, what moves they need to do to help their team, and they do it because they're confident in their scouting department to make decisions if you're getting picks back, or they're confident that that player can move the needle just enough to reach that mountaintop to get to Los Angeles next year. Why is this so hard for the bottom half of the league to understand? I will never get. Never understand. Never. It seems so simplistic to me.
And that's part of why it annoys me when I hear people talk about this issue, which this is, in my opinion, one of the most overused terms in sports. Especially sports especially American professional sports leagues. And I say American because you guys follow professional, international soccer and whatnot far more than I do. So I'm just going to stick to what I know better. And I'm not going to, talk out of my tail here. That's not what this show's about. And it's the word parity, because I'm sorry, there are organizations going back over the past 16 years, let's say, I'll use baseball as an example. We've seen teams like the Royals. We've seen teams like the Nationals, which have been dog water 98% of my life. We've seen teams like we've seen teams like the Braves, which have been very up and down for a good portion of my life. They've been good for most of the last several years, but had a couple of really bad years for a while. We saw teams like Houston turn it around after a few years. People are now who just started following baseball in the last decade would be shocked to know that we once saw them. What was it under Bo Porter losing like 120 games or something?
Something like that.
Yeah. Like they were right. That was right when the Mariners were kind of at the top of the division too. Kind of flipped.
Yeah, that was right at the end of right before they traded Ichiro to the Yankees, because he was still pretty much up there. King Felix was up there. They had Iwakuma, who was always underrated, and so on and so forth. But just kind of railing it back to what I was talking about is, I'm sorry, it is not the fault of the well-run organizations that teams like the Tennessee Titans or teams like the Arizona Cardinals or teams like the New York Jets don't know their ass from a handful of sand. True. It is not their fault. So I understand that people want it to be, more quote unquote interesting, and people want, every team to have a shot every year and one thing or another. But I'm not interested in watching greatness and success get penalized because there are 9 or 10 teams that, because of their quarterback, their coach, their owner, or usually a combination thereof, I'll throw general manager in there as well, can't get out of their own damn way.
That's the thing. But that's the thing, Scoop. Like, that's my issue with baseball is you say all this, but the salary cap has created a thing where last year we didn't know what half the teams were. We know that teams were good, but there was like a ton of parity last year in the NFL. A ton. More than we've ever had. It was compelling football. That's what baseball is missing.
I mean, we say it was compelling football. How many times were we on the show and we were talking about how crap half of the games were?
I mean, yeah, crap.
We said it on this. We said not on this show, but I was on FAH. But
right, but crap. Half of the games were. But once we hit the playoffs, the games were pretty wild.
But that's like
the kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I still think there were about 3 or 4 playoff games that kind of sucked. But
we gotta think about this one too. For all the crap football, for how much that we did hate it every week because the entire league was just struggling, there was still a lot of positives to come out of it. The Jaguars, no one expected that to happen. Broncos, no one expected them to be that close to a Super Bowl this early with where they're at in their development.
I wouldn't say nobody, but I wouldn't say nobody, but I get your point.
Well,
New England making the damn Super Bowl. Yeah. The Patriots making the damn Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Patriots out of nowhere. Yeah, the Patriots out of nowhere. People thinking they're only going to win 5-6 games maybe in another year. In the first year of Drake May starting, Mike Vrabel maybe we're like, oh, we're going to and we said in the offseason we Vrabel being there and all that stuff, former Patriot, Super Bowl champion, all these different things. Like the storylines going into it were still cool, and the teams that had experienced a lot of failure right before that, a year or two before that, became a lot better this year.
I partially agree and partially don't, and here's why. Because look at the teams we just mentioned. The Patriots, the Broncos, the Seahawks. These teams have historically been well run at the top. These are not teams that have never been good. It's
true. Yeah.
It's like
the Jaguars have never been good. They were great last year.
Great, I think, is a stretch.
But what they had?
What they had going into the year, and then what they did for 18 weeks, it was actually crazy.
If you're talking about overperforming based on expectations, yeah. Sorry,
the Jags are not a well-run organization, and they did what they did
last year was crazy. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was talking about, I think I was interpreting what you said a little bit differently. I said even the Braves. I mentioned the Braves a little while ago.
Yeah.
I actually think that they're a sneakily well-run organization. At least now.
Are. But again, that's always been my thing with baseball. It's like this is why baseball needs a cap and a floor, because it's going to, weirdly, as bizarre as this is, it's going to incentivize teams like the Pirates to actually spend money. Because there's an actual mechanic in place that says you have to flipping spend.
Yeah, and that's why I said in the past, I don't have as much of an issue with it, because I've been, historically I've been anti-cap on the show. I don't have as nearly as much of an issue with a cap if you're implementing a floor too.
But you can't implement a salary cap and not a floor. That's stupid. It's wasteful.
I'm just telling you based on what I heard people say. Okay, I'm not talking about myself here, but I'm just saying that if you look that people were talking and saying for the longest time that we need a cap because they were saying that the quote unquote problem in the league were owners like Mark Walter and Steve Cohen and Hal Steinbrenner.
They
And
are a problem, but also the bottom end's a problem too. They're both problems.
I think the bottom end is outsizedly a problem compared to the upper end.
And I would agree, but still, it's both an issue.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought Josh had sent a new message.
No, but that's the thing. The Dodgers can't go out there and basically there's two things. The Dodgers can't go out there. The NFL doesn't have this. The NFL doesn't have super teams where superstars can sign on a bench roll. It doesn't happen. But on the flip side,
where superstar, I'm sorry, I genuinely didn't hear you. Where superstars can what?
Can sign and be like, I'm okay with a bench roll. I'm okay with being the sixth, whatever. And again, I'm over dramatizing it. But again, like,
I mean, I do think we see that happen. We saw like what we've seen in the last few years when Brady was on the Bucks. We saw it with the Rams.
Brady got $20 million. Brady got his money.
Eventually, there are plenty of teams that we've watched over the past 10 or 15 years that the reason why they had sustained success, I can't talk for the life of me, is the reason why they had that is because there were pay cuts taken. It's because their quarterback wasn't making $50-60 million a year.
Right. Brady is one of the only guys that would do that. But the thing is, like how many times you're going to hear this? You're going to hear this with a lot of teams at the top because this was the Patriots a couple of years back. Like the Patriots have to spend $100 million more because they have to, because they need to hit the floor. And so that's the thing is like, and I get it, guys will take pay cuts and whatever. And again, it's not deferrals, baseball is the deferrals thing, but it's like, so I still think the Dodgers are a massive issue for the league because let's be honest, if you're a casual fan watching baseball this year, there's no point to watch baseball because the Dodgers are going to be there.
I also and here's one issue that I have, and I'll use the Dodgers as an example. Let's say, just for the sake of throwing numbers out there, let's say they implement a cap at $300 million and a floor at $150 million, just to put numbers out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it's going to be way different than that, but we'll just start with that.
It's going to be way more, but yeah.
But if I'm looking at the rosters, right, I'm sure there are veteran players who are saying F it. I'd rather take, because of what they already have there in Ohtani and Yamamoto and those guys, I'll take, less money to go and be on the Dodgers and still win.
But there's only so much money to go. But the thing with the cap floor and a cap, like a salary cap, is there's only so much to go around. And that's the difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But and another thing that I'll be curious to see how this impacts how.
No, you're on the right track. You're okay.
What impact this has is that what does baseball? I mean, there are a lot of answers to this, but what does Major League Baseball have that NFL, NBA, and NHL don't have, at least in this specific manner? Like they have a version of it, at least in NHL and NBA, but not in this specific manner. Minor league contracts. I'm curious to see how that's going to be, if that's going to have any sort of impact on this as well. Because when you have a minor league contract and then you get promoted for the first time, then all of a sudden you essentially get signed to a major league contract, and typically it's for the league minimum, which I think this year was $780K or something.
So it will run very similarly. It will run. Your answer is that it will run very similarly.
I'll tell you what. You know what I'm interested in seeing with this whole cap and floor for baseball is the outcome of what's going to happen now that a lot of the guys from Japan cannot, because once that comes over and once the Dodgers meet their quota with money, now you can't sign to play with Ohtani and Yamamoto.
Exactly.
I think part of this, because if you remember, this happened in, I think, the last two CBAs. I know it was at least the last one. I think what you're going to see with this, I think in some capacity, I think you're going to see an international draft become part of this new CBA.
Oh, I think so.
Yeah,
I think something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I guess my question is, the biggest issue I have. Well, I have a lot of issues with how baseball views itself in terms of money and stuff, because I think a lot of it is genuinely
how it views
stupid.
Itself. What does that mean?
Well, baseball. Okay, this is kind of
I'm
a
just
young
turning my fan
person
down real
thing.
quick.
No, this is kind of a young person thing, but I think baseball, unfortunately, and this is coming from someone who's like an NFL guy who watches
Right.
NFL, NBA
Right.
as much as I possibly can.
Yes.
The MLB does a lot that views itself as pretentious, as better than everyone else, even though they're not, even though the statistics say otherwise. And I'll explain a couple reasons why.
I
So no,
mean, I'm gonna let you talk, obviously, but I will say I kind of don't entirely disagree with you on that.
because there is a couple things. One is they don't understand, baseball fans don't understand what a bad, like, the game is in a great spot with the stars, and I'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah.
But what baseball fans don't understand is that the most important demographic you have on television is 18 to 35.
Yep.
International soccer is lapping baseball right now. Lapping it. MLS is lapping it. I'm not joking. If you look at it for the last 5 to 10 years, international soccer is getting better ratings in that demographic. That's a problem.
Isn't that mostly just because a lot of 18 to 35-year-olds have the attention span of a gnat and they think baseball?
Well, okay, and I was gonna get to that. So number one, the fact that they are not focusing on the most important demographic that the NHL focuses on, the NBA focuses on, the NFL is so successful because they focus on that demographic. Number one, so the baseball too slow thing. You're not actually like teaching, like, they're okay. So Brandon taught me how to watch baseball, and it changed the way I watch baseball forever. Because he's like, you have to look at, like, okay, it's a very situational game.
Yes.
And like you have to think about it through that lens. And it kind of just changed my view on how to watch baseball.
Yes.
But most people don't get that. And the marketing doesn't do that either. There's so many good players. Even the WBC is getting like no marketing. There's no marketing.
Yeah, it's not
for it
great
at all. There's no Fox is doing a little marketing here and there, but it's not impressive. Like, there's no marketing. And also, let's put another thing. Fox, here's the deal, man. Fox is having a couple games on linear Fox television. There should be more. I'm talking this weekend. They have games on Tubi, which is insane that there's like actual important WBC games on Tubi and just on the Fox Sports app. Like, they don't even care about it because you're putting a bunch of your games on your basically third and fourth free TV networks. They don't care. It's just wasteful inventory.
And I couldn't even find it on Tubi yesterday. I was looking for it when I was at work. I couldn't even find it on Tubi.
Well, there's a couple games on Tubi this weekend, not all of them. A lot of them.
If you were looking for it while you're at work, I hope your boss doesn't watch this show.
They don't care. They know I do my job.
No, but a lot of the games aren't like. There's only a couple minus the USA games. There's only a couple games this weekend on linear Fox, like maybe one or two. I'm not talking Team USA. So there's like a bunch of games, FS1, FS2, and I understand there's like time differentiations, whatever. But it's like this is the World Cup of baseball, and it's not getting treated at all as important from marketing. This is not just Fox. MLB has to do a better job marketing the game. They haven't done anything to market the game. Anything of instrumental value at all to market the game. The most marketing they've done is like, buy MLB.TV. It's $160. Pay $100 to watch your favorite team. It's like, for us here for the Mariners, it's like, hey, $150 for MLB.TV, $100 to get every Mariners game. Woo!
No,
who cares? What
the crazy thing is? Like, and it's not just that too. Like, the one thing I think I see in baseball more than any other sport is there's such an emphasis. And listen, I as someone who kind of likes being old school, I like this, but at the same time, it does hurt the game. There's a lot of old school, like, traditionalists in baseball. There's a lot of gatekeeping in baseball.
I'll admit to being one of those in a lot of ways.
It's so gatekeepy.
Because like when now Rob Manfred, I don't like the Ghost Runner either, or at least push the Ghost Runner back a couple innings.
That is probably my least favorite rule change we've ever done.
Like I get it. I get having it to end games faster, whatever.
Put him on first, not on second. That's been my biggest take.
Yeah, there we go.
Either put him on first or wait till like the first 2 extra innings, play the game out like it's a normal game. 12th inning, then put the guy on second base.
My hot take has always been on first. I'll get to this right now. The games on Netflix and Peacock and all these things. It is interesting because Netflix has a good user base. Peacock does not, but it will become more available as NBCSN keeps building out cable packages and stuff. You're going to see that on more cable packages. So we'll skip NBC. Because, by the way, NBC, once the NBA playoffs are over, like once it's over for them, all Sunday Night Baseball games are going to be on NBC. All of them. So it's like local television. So we'll skip that. The Apple TV Plus deal is awful. It's genuinely awful.
Yeah,
Friday Night Baseball is bad. Like Netflix, I can skip Netflix because almost everyone has Netflix.
Have you seen how bad the Apple TV broadcast is for baseball?
It's awful.
They do no homework. Well, first of all, the sound quality is terrible. Second of all, like all the production values are terrible. But then the actual broadcasters have no idea what the hell they're talking about. It's like they never watched baseball a day in their lives.
It's unbelievable.
There's times where it's like where I've seen them. I've literally seen them as I'm like streaming the like if the Yankees are on Apple TV and I have to find some third party source to watch it because I don't miss games. Like it'll be
no one has Apple TV.
Exactly.
Who's buying Apple TV?
It'll be a Giancarlo Stanton home run, and they're like, "Oh, what a shot from Aaron Judge." They don't what?
You sound like it has nothing to do with who she is. I didn't care for the call itself. It reminds me of that call with that Athletics broadcaster last year.
Like,
oh yeah, MLS gave up. MLS gave up because they just decided all of our stuff is going to be on Apple TV Plus. And Formula One, to their credit, they're on Apple TV Plus starting this weekend. They have a few big races on Netflix, a couple on Tubi, so they're going to have a lot more options. And you can watch the thing.
Like, so that's the good thing about these sports, though, is like at least for the baseball, at least baseball is trying to push things forward in terms of their broadcasting and whatnot, and I'm glad that ESPN's kind of is losing those rights because
ESPN was bad. They were bad.
ESPN was good when we were growing up, when it was John Miller, Joe Morgan, and they focused on the game, and you had like old school, like the Yankees, Red Sox rivalries, what have you. They were good at doing that back then. For some reason, along the way, as we got into the 2010s, the quality just dipped. They didn't care about.
Can I say something that sounds ridiculous? Yeah. Ever since they changed the colors. Like the whole the theme song and like they made it like that bold red color with the white and whatnot. Ever since they completely redid their graphic layout, there is a direct correlation in my mind between the drop off in quality of their content and them doing that.
Well, because they know like it's weird. They know, I guess, for other sports that everybody watches football. Everybody will watch, nowadays, like baseball's getting pushed to the background because it's an older demographic.
I'll add this. I'll add this to that because we talked about it a few minutes ago, real quick. I found on Statista, there's it's from November 22, so it's a couple of years ago now. But the percentage of the most popular sports among Generation Z, NFL 53, NBA 47%. And MLB 35%. NHL was still 25%. So, that's the share of respondents who identified as either avid or casual fans.
That's slowly tipped in the NHL's favor because everybody the last 2 years with the NHL playoffs, everybody's watched it. Everybody. So
exciting. It's really fun.
It's exciting. So even those scales are starting to tip. But the point I was making with the whole traditionalist gatekeeping thing is like I even saw with the ABS challenge system, how everybody at first was like, "Oh yeah, we love it, good. We don't want the umpires screwing up calls, whatever." Now and they're like, They're like, oh yeah, by the way, it takes about 10, 15 seconds for them to between the challenge and the call being corrected. And everybody's like, oh, this is gonna add like so much time onto the game. It's 15 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, for heaven and hell, this kid over here would be able to sit through that.
And by the way, I'll say this really quick. Sunday Night Baseball is doing a really good thing with Jayson Benintendi being announced as the play-by-play guy yesterday. He's going to be amazing doing it. But they're having a rotating cast of the home announcers. The home color analysts are going to join Benintendi every week. I love that. I think it's fantastic.
Well,
I think that's going to be so fun.
That's more or less what David Cohn was doing, right? Between doing ESPN or between doing baseball like that and doing the Yankees. That's what David Cohn did.
A little bit. I just think the fact that they're saying this is how we're going to do our coverage, I think that's so. Yeah, I mean that's definitely true.
Elijah's right.
ABC's big. That is true. That is a huge part of it. And this is why Rob Manfred was getting pretty pissy with ESPN. I think NBC. So NBC, I'm really excited about what they're doing because they have said very clearly Sunday nights is going to be about sports on our mainstream NBC network, right? You're going to have Sunday Night Basketball, which after the Olympics now is fully underway. Then obviously we're going to go through July or June, I guess, with the NBA playoffs. But once that ends, Sunday Night Baseball. Then once that ends, Sunday Night Football. Your Sunday nights are going to be big for NBC, and you're already seeing the dividends of it. Sunday Night Basketball is getting pretty good ratings. It's not bad. It's not NFL level, but it's not bad. There's no reason why when we hit July, baseball's not going to get the same thing. Especially when NBCSN gets to more cable providers, which it's going to in the next few months based on everything I've heard. There you go. More baseball. You're just going to have more baseball on your TV.
Yeah, and that's a good thing.
Which is great.
Especially in the heat. Because people don't care really about, unless you're a diehard like we are, people don't care about baseball until the summer. Or start caring about baseball until the summer, I should say.
Right after the Stanley Cup and NBA Finals end. There we go.
Pretty much is when everybody gets into it. Yeah, unless you're the three of us and you'll watch opening day when it's 45 degrees outside and guys are still wearing a turtleneck and all that stuff.
On Netflix this year for you boys, by the way.
It's
Netflix and Fox for your opening series.
And I love that. And the thing is, I love Fox's broadcast with baseball. Because the thing is, I have. And once again, it's kind of the old school traditionalist to me. Just like how I miss John Miller and Joe Morgan calling games on ESPN back in the day when I was a little kid. And the thing is, when I hear John Miller's voice for the Giants nowadays, I'm like, yes, that nostalgia hits me hard. But I miss on Fox, and this is also with broadcasters moving around and different things, different guys changing stations or whatever. Joe Buck and Aikman are doing ESPN now. But I miss when Buck did games on Fox. And I miss when he did baseball. Because Buck and baseball went together like this. So
I never got why he got so much hatred, Joe Buck.
I like him for baseball. I mean, and the thing is,
football, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm fine with him. He was better the last year.
He got Angel Hernandez levels of hate by fans, and I did not understand that at all.
It's just because for big moments, he was so monotone.
That is true. That is very true.
I'm it was there was times where hell, I remember they showed a clip of a player running down a sideline to score a game-winning touchdown on a punt return, and he's like, this guy down the sideline, touchdown. I'm like, could you be a little more excited? It's just a game-winning play on a punt return. Hello. You don't have to be a fanboy of the team that just won, but be a little excited. It's a massive play.
Josh is jumping back in. He says, bro, I hate Joe Buck for baseball. Laughing my ass off.
Joe Buck for baseball when baseball was slower. That was for baseball purists. Bob Costas is the worst now.
Oh my God. He's a great baseball. He's a great baseball historian. I love listening to him talk about baseball history, but trying to cover a game, especially for people who have, like you said, Brandon, earlier, the attention spans of a gnat.
Yeah.
No bueno. No bueno.
And the thing is,
by the way, I will also say I thought he was really good the other day doing basketball.
He has moments where he's like the old Bob Costas comes through. The thing is, it's like when you see your favorite athlete fall off after a certain age, or you see your favorite musician not make the same kind of music anymore, or not be as inspired. It's the same thing with Bob Costas. It's like the time has passed. He's past his prime. But like, but when it comes to like him, what pissed me off was like, listen, I love the guy for what he knows about all sports, but especially baseball. But it's like, when I'm watching Yankees Royals in that ALDS a couple years ago, and I'm seeing like two guys come around to score on a ball hit into the gap, and he's giving me some history lesson about World War II baseball, I don't care. Call the damn game. I don't care.
What year was the Yankees Royals ALDS?
That was 2 years ago now. TBS.
Because
he got the TBS assignment for that.
Yeah. Because I went to game one. Thank God I went to game one. I'm like, I can actually experience
game one was bad. Dude, he was so bad in game one. I told you how bad he was.
Was that the year that they won the AL?
Yeah. That
was okay, I couldn't remember. I only could remember the Cleveland series and obviously the Dodgers fiasco.
That does remind me. Baseball, welcome to CBS. Welcome to Paramount.
Thank God.
Baseball is now a Paramount property now, which is quite well once the deal gets done.
Yeah.
So what is it? Baseball is now Paramount property.
Baseball is going to be on a lot of different stations, right? NBC.
Baseball. Well. Joe called one of the 4 wildcard games. Yeah, I didn't get that either. I think he didn't want to. But yeah, I don't. Again, it's going to be on TBS this year, but I think there's a good chance you're going to see that TBS broadcast have some CBS exclusivity. I have no. By the way, I have no idea what's going to happen to TNT Sports as of right now. I have zero idea because we're kind of in the dark in terms of what that's going to look like for the Paramount Warner Bros. Deal. So we'll learn about that over the coming months. But yeah, it's a lot of different stations. But to me, I think Netflix views it as a priority. Hell, they have the Home Run Derby. NBC clearly does. They find it as premier value. I think they've done great promotion for it. I think ESPN doesn't really care. They're gonna have a few games, but I don't think they really care. Apple TV, we've talked about it. Fox, I like Fox's broadcast, but the promotion for the WBC has been almost non-existent.
It's been bad.
Which is bad. And it's so like, and also another thing is, and again, I respect Shohei Ohtani. I respect Aaron Judge. I understand the marketing value that they bring, but there's a lot of really good players in baseball that get like zero promotion by MLB. Yeah. None.
You know why?
It's because unbelievable.
They're trying to grab that casual fan. That's what it is. Because okay,
but the NFL can grab. Yeah, the NFL can grab a casual fan by saying Patrick Mahomes, but they can also grab a casual fan by saying any random wide receiver off the street. Why is this so hard? Because the NFL does that. Yeah,
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Because the NFL draft, it's a draft. You're just watching guys walk up on stage. Gets 100 million viewers. It's dumb, but this is the kind of pull the NFL has.
Yeah, well,
I'm not saying MLB is going to get that. That's not what I'm asking. But there are other really cool personalities in baseball that deserve some marketing push. And the WBC, the marketing push is, oh yeah, Team USA is playing tomorrow. Woo! There's other games on.
I'll say this. I think part of that is insofar as the specific microcosm that you brought up. Part of that, I believe, and I don't have anything to back this up other than just my own personal speculation, is NFL. You see, the green room guys, like the first 20, like the top 20-ish guys that are going to be drafted. the guys who are pretty much sitting there at Radio City Music Hall or wherever the hell it is this year in Pittsburgh, I think. Yeah. Those guys are typically, you've had the combine, you've had the pro days, you've had obviously college football, you've had and those guys are going to go on and probably be at least week 1 starters, or there's going to be week 1 stories as to when they're going to start. You draft. I mean, with the exception of your Paul Skeens and your Bryce Harpers, these guys are going to sit in the minors for probably 2-3 years minimum. And I think that that's part of what, I don't want to say hurts per se, but I think that's part of the difficulty.
You're missing something really important. Scoop, when non-NFL, like casual NFL fans watch the draft, they don't know a single prospect. The only prospect they know this year is Mendoza. They don't know anybody else. They don't care. But they still watch it. They don't care. Casual fans don't care about anyone but Mendoza this year. Nobody.
I like this year.
Like if you are saying they only watch for Mendoza, then I mean they're probably turning it off after pick 1 anyway, or not long thereafter.
That's the thing. They're watching because Mendoza's going to go 1, and they're just going to sit there waiting for their team to go. That's the pull the NFL has. These guys, the casual fans know nothing about any prospect other than Mendoza. And maybe a couple others here and there.
Do you have the Nielsen ratings for the last few drafts? Because I'd be really curious to look at that.
Dude, it's over like 62. I don't even have to look it up. It's like 60 to 100 million. It's bank, and nobody cares. Also, the NFL once a week, that's important, right?
Wait, what number did you say?
It's like 60 to 100, is it not?
It was 7.5 last year, bro.
It was 7.5. That's more than the NHL gets in the playoffs.
Okay,
that's more than the NBA gets in the playoffs.
More than the NHL gets in the playoffs. Okay, but that's by far the 4th most watched league in America.
But the NBA playoffs don't get that rating. A round 1 game doesn't get. Oh, so I misconstrued it. But the NBA playoffs doesn't get that rating. It's unbelievable. And also, yeah, the sport being slower to football, I don't agree with, because it's actually around the same time. It's like 2 hours and 30 minutes for baseball. But again, my bad. I'm misconstruing it. It's 7.5. Okay, cool. It's 7.5. But look at a average round 1 NBA playoff game. They only get 4 million.
It was about the same last year.
They're lapping them, and nobody cares. Nobody cares about the. We do, obviously.
Well,
No, we do, obviously. I get that. We do. But I'm saying for the casual fan, football is like minus the combine, because the combine is.
Eli Weintraub just came in and round 1 was 13.6. I'll
13.6. The Stanley Cup final got 6.5 last year. Lapped. And again, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. So we're not talking about us. The NFL markets itself. It just does. The NBA is very good with marketing because social media clips.
They are probably the second best, if not the best at times.
At marketing. NHL, whatever. I know they struggle in American markets, but Canada, they're lapping. They're fine. They're doing okay. They're doing a lot better than I think people understand here in America, especially with the new contracts.
It also just never seemed like a priority to them, to be honest.
No, and I don't think it is. But the MLB looks at that and they're like, well, also, okay. And then local market soccer, if you look at like Champions League final numbers and stuff, it's kind of big. But then the MLB looks at that and they're like, we have all these players. We have these amazing pictures. We can throw them up on social media whenever we want. We can get people engaged. We have this, we have that. We have the WBC. No casual fan knows that the WBC started yesterday. Nobody.
Yeah.
And that to me is awful. It is so bad for the game. It's like, bro, we can't market this sport. We can't market this sport
He said, Mr. Hathaway said, what type of rating will the World Cup this year because of being held at MetLife Stadium?
It will be about 1 million or 2 more than normal, but it doesn't really matter because FIFA and Fox, if you saw the ratings for the last World Cup, which also that led into football, which is part of it, it doesn't really matter because the World Cup gets, Brandon knows this, the World Cup final gets billions of views anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a winner. It's a winner anyway. Casual fan, it does well, casual fan, yeah. But even if you're a casual fan, you're gonna watch a World Cup final. Just because the World Cup final is the world's biggest sporting event. It's not even close. Where the world just stops for 3 hours. You know what I mean?
Straight up, I'm looking at what Eli said about the drafts. I'm honestly surprised MLB draft got even 800,000. I wouldn't have thought it would be that high.
Yeah, me too.
I also think the MLB draft being held during All-Star weekend is really stupid
because no one pays attention.
I mean they
really
historically have not done that. It was until a couple of years ago. It was, I think, the second week in June or something.
Well,
yeah, which I think is dumb. Like, make it an event.
I don't think that you can make the MLB like put more eyes on the MLB draft. Like when you think about
with Josh here, by the way,
100%. That's why we love them, and that's why we love them because they're amazing.
Because you got the kids in the DR, 12 years old, throwing 95 miles an hour. So,
not only that, I mean, a few years ago, I mean, you remember when we had that whole horrific situation with Big Papi down there?
Yeah.
They basically were saying like he is like bigger than any other celebrity down there, pretty much.
And like when I'm thinking about like the draft numbers and like the eyes on baseball. Like baseball to me is the hardest sport to get called up in or to be drafted in and actually play in Major League Baseball.
Right.
Yeah, that's part of what I was going for earlier.
And the thing is that like it's a lot like because you see all these prospects come out of high school, some of them because of the high school draft or college, and you know nothing about them or you haven't watched enough of them, whatever it is. But college is so different from even single A and double A. And it's a world of a difference away from AAA. So it's like, to me, it's like, I think because NBA is going to get eyes on it because NBA guys, if you're in college, if you're a top 10 pick, you're basically ready to play tomorrow. If you're in the NFL and in college, you're damn near ready to play tomorrow, almost.
Right.
Like, but NHL, not having many viewers because NHL is also NHL is predominantly a white sport. That doesn't help it. And the MLB kind of has like it's more integrated, obviously, but the MLB is just people don't care about the college players as much or the guys coming out of high school because you just don't know anything about them. And the thing is, the MLB doesn't market those next generation of stars like that coming out of college and all that stuff.
Like and Josh, I very much agree with here. The original message that I put up was. He said MLB draft is watered down because there's too many low-class ball clubs, like minor leagues.
Yeah,
which I agree with. But and also I'll say this: going back to the COVIDism era in 2020 or around there, they actually had more leagues. They've truncated it quite a bit. They had I think 3 or 4 more levels that they took away. Thank God. But that's part of what I was talking about earlier was just the fact that. Your biggest prospect in, let's say, 2021 in the draft, you might not see him in the major league level until 2025 or 2026. And I think that's part of. I mean, I do think part of it is what we talked about with the attention span thing. But like you see a top quarterback drafted in May. You're probably seeing him, if not week 1, you're probably seeing him at latest by week 12 or week 13 that year.
The issue I have,
drafted.
Sorry, Scoop. The issue I have with baseball with this attention span thing, I don't think it's an attention span problem. It's a marketing problem. That's what it is. Market your damn players, and people will watch it.
I think it's both because again, like I was trying to say. you're getting, if you're drafting the top prospect it doesn't have to be NFL, it could be NBA. I think even NHL. Again, that's the one I know the least about. But most of these other leagues, you draft a top prospect, or you draft a top quarterback or guard or whatever you want to say. Most of those guys you're seeing either opening day or at least mid-season. Major League Baseball, you are extremely unlikely, unless the occasional what's the word? Like the occasional situation when that's not the case, exception. Hello. It would be, obviously we talked about Skeens and Harper, or more likely usually is not draft prospects, but it's guys that are coming over, like your Otanis, like your Yamamotos,
Right.
like your Tatsuya Imais, and it's, looking at guys like that who are technically prospects per se, but nobody expects them to be in the minors for maybe more than a few weeks.
Right.
And like, but even look at the develop part of this is player development in and of itself. Because how many top prospects have we seen in Major League Baseball that everyone's like, oh, he can't miss. He's a can't miss. Jesus Montero was like that, and may he rest in peace. Holy crap, the guy flamed out, especially after he went to Toronto. But time and time again, you look at it, like even top five, even guys on the top five every year. Jurickson Profar, we were told for the longest time was the next big thing. He just got popped for PEDs for the second time.
Hilarious, by the way.
In Atlanta, a different drug than the previous time. So he's out now for the entire 2020.
Brandon, thanks for making me draft him in our league last year, and having him for most of the year. And Josh, Ian agrees with you. Really quick, I'll get to William's question here. What type of rating will the NCAA tournament get this year?
Yeah, about
the same as last year. What did they get? Like 15 million, 10 to 15? It's going to be about the same. I'm more curious just because this is the first term. Well, again, this is the first tournament where basically it's just all under Paramount. It won't look like it, but behind the scenes it will. So I'm more curious on how that's going to look more than just what the rating is going to be.
Right.
So that's what I'm more curious about because of the TNT stuff. MLB prospects are suspects.
Well, see, it's funny
that so much
because I think the only guy I can remember coming out of college that damn near, he didn't quite entirely, but damn near bypassed the entire farm system and just went straight to the league was Paul Skeens, because we knew how you could see how
special
good
guy
he was.
Special guy.
Yeah,
like he was a phenom. Like we knew it too. Like, but it's like he's the only one I can remember, at least right now.
Josh.
I mean, how
Josh,
many people?
I can barely play first base. I'm still learning it. Look at this bat. I literally am trying. It's hard as hell.
I can't figure out how to make my fingers work. There we go. The amount of people that we've heard at like great levels say this. I mean, Deion Sanders has said it. Like people who I can't remember the others right now, but there are so many people who attempted to play like all different sports, whether it was baseball and football, baseball and basketball, all three, whatever. Like the amount of great athletes who have gone on to say that is, I don't need to break down I don't need to go, sports science. I really wish that ESPN would bring that back. But I don't need to go all, sports science on everybody, but like you can hear it. Like you can go and see it for yourself. The amount of reaction time that you have, you're basically educated guessing in what is it, a fraction of a half of a second or something.
That's also why I hate the people that you see on social media that try to troll, and they're like oh, there's all the football fans and basketball fans, whatever, and they're like, oh, baseball's not a sport. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Are you out of your flipping mind? The problem there is what they're looking at. They're looking at sports purely for physicality. Baseball is a much. What did Yogi Berra say? 90% of the game is half mental, and right. It's just you have that element in such a way where I'm not going to say it doesn't exist in the other sports per se, but it exists, I think, to a much different degree in baseball.
I I just don't get why it's so hard for someone in the summer, because this is what I do in the summertime when I'm not like playing video games or whatever. I just like, okay, there's a baseball game on, TBS, Fox, NBC. Put music on. I'm just gonna sit in front of the TV and watch it. Why is this hard for people? Like, baseball, I think, is also a fun sport because you can do other things and still watch it. You know, and it's just like, okay, like, it's a fun sport to watch. Why is this so hard? And it's like, it's hard because of all these things that we're mentioning. That all these things that baseball has, honestly, under Rob Manfred, again, let's just be honest, has put themselves in a position where the sport is just young people of that 18 to 36 demographic just don't care about the sport, and it's really bad.
I mean,
really bad.
I would say about 90% of baseball fans would tell you that Rob Manfred's been an absolute dick to the sport. But
no, and he has. I'm not denying that. But just from this conversation, the point that I think we all kind of want to run home about, or why I kind of started this, is hockey. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and debate. I love all these sports, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, this sport, whatever. But regardless, the point that I'm trying to make is like Rob Manfred came out and said the ESPN deal was bad. We didn't get the coverage we wanted, and I agreed with him. NBC probably will do a better job. I don't think TBS has done a great job promoting the sport. I don't think Fox has done a good job promoting the sport. And yet Rob Manfred has chose to go after ESPN. And again, I think ESPN has been the worst. But it's like, okay, stop blaming. Okay, finish. Go, Scoop. Sorry.
I was going to say, the only saving grace he had as far as the commissioner is concerned is that Adam Silver completely put his foot in his mouth so hard it came out the back of his skull by saying that the NBA is a highlight league or something of that nature.
Right. Yeah. And I agree with that. But also, it's getting people to watch the actual games. The NBA ratings in the playoffs are still going to be pretty damn good. And so baseball, Rob Manfred comes out
in the playoffs. Like, yeah, I'm talking in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm talking about like the whole picture itself.
Right, regular season, it's kind of whatever. I'll be honest, as an NBA fan, it's kind of whatever. Especially when I kind of know what these teams are going into the playoffs already. Anyway, besides the point. But what's worse, him saying that or Manfred saying the World Series is an empty cup?
Well,
like that's crap to me.
I think they're both bad for different reasons.
That's fair.
Well, see, I know what
Eli Weintraub says. There's not much action. It's a slower sport. And you do something, next thing you know, you miss the biggest home run of the game.
Well, see, I get that point. But this is because you know what's funny, because that was originally Rob's viewpoint of baseball.
Yeah.
And I said you also got to realize this, that there's an appreciation where you can think it's a slow sport, and in the past, before the pitch clock, whenever it was.
By the way, I listen to music while watching baseball. It doesn't mean I miss anything while watching.
Yeah, no. Well, when you said you listen to music while watching baseball, I was like, how in the world do you do that?
And I'm a
multitasker, dude. I'm multitask like crazy.
You know what the whole thing is here when I know when a lot of you saying there's not much action, but even in a 0-0 game, if you have a pitcher's duel, that is action. That is.
Yeah, that's just people interpret.
Sorry, Josh, I misrepresented what you said. I apologize.
Also, I want to push back a little bit on Josh naming all the people that came up very fast in the MLB.
Yeah, I didn't even know what he was saying. I just saw him listing a bunch of names.
Because with those names, and the thing is, all those guys spent at least a year or two in the minors. Skeens came up faster, I think, than all of them.
Right.
Skeens came up faster than all of them. Skeens came up in like half a year.
I also want to point out that, kind of like what I said before, I think about 80% of the guys he named, I'm pretty sure were international prospects, not draftees.
And that's another thing too. They were either international or, and the thing is, like, out of like Harper came up fast. Yeah, he did, but he also spent, I think it was like a year and a half in the minors, like or something like that. I remember looking it up.
It's also you can I mean, you can name exceptions to every rule, right? But I mean, we're going to get a Bryce Harper or a Paul Skeens, once every 20 years?
Exactly.
And by the way,
especially with Skeens was like half a season. He spent what a one season in AAA baseball, not even barely, and then got promoted immediately. So
that is such a roast, Josh. That is such a roast.
I'd rather listen to music and watch baseball than to listen to Joe Buck call that baseball game that I am watching.
well, again, by the way, and I'll say this as well. I'm wondering if I'm in the minority with this. Slow, minute commentary for baseball annoys me. Is that a common theme?
Well, what do you mean by slow, minute comment? Because for me, like, there's a big difference between somebody like, like we were mentioning earlier, or like a Vin Scully. Like Vin Scully definitely was not a fast talker and definitely was not like a overwhelmingly overzealous guy. But I mean, I could also listen to that man read the phone book. So,
that's what I'm saying though. It's like and not to disparage the guys that they're doing for the WBC, because I know it's kind of hard with the international stuff. I listened to that commentary last night and I was like, you guys aren't making this game any better. You guys are making this game that's already pretty boring because these two teams are really bad.
Those aren't top-level commentators last night, though, either.
No.
Those guys were like guys that play the sport. Like one of the guys I think was Australian. So
yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. It's like I listen. There's some baseball guys and I get it. The top guys are the top guys, and I always like listening to them. Even Costas, him being stupid is a good time. I still will. And by the way, I appreciate Bob Costas. He's a legend. I grew up with Bob Costas. You know what I mean? So, but what I'm saying is like bad commentary is like bad commentary for any sport is excruciating. Like in the NFL, we're very lucky to have, other than Tony Romo last year, really good commentary. But it's like, but I think baseball really suffers for people who don't know how to commentate baseball. People who don't know how to commentate baseball, I genuinely think it makes the game unwatchable. Not because it's like it's just so like, here's this guy and he's from this league and he did this, and it's like it's on the screen. It's on the screen. I'm looking at everything. It's on the screen. Don't read what's on the screen.
You know what it is, one of my favorite commentators when it comes to baseball. Like in this area, we have two great broadcast teams. We have the Yankees and we have the Mets.
And we're both amazing. Top level, best in the world.
But I still see people, and it's because everybody's got an opinion on social media. But there's a guy who's a Yankees fan who I follow.
Yes.
My takes usually align with his. But for some reason, he has such a hatred for Paul O'Neill's commentary. I'm like, Paul O'Neill makes it fun.
Paul O'Neill is the one. Paul O'Neill is probably my favorite over there. Honestly,
Paul O'Neill's a Yankees legend. He could do no wrong in my eyes.
You know who my least favorite is on the Yes Network? It's actually Michael Kay.
You know what's funny?
Actually, yeah.
You know what's funny is when I hear Michael Kay, I love it. I'm like, yes, I get to listen to Michael Kay for 3 hours.
You remember? None of us remember this, but there's that famous call I remember in the postseason. I shouldn't say remember because we weren't alive for it, but watching it. I remember watching it, watching the reruns of it. And it's still one of my favorite calls ever, is the Don Mattingly home run in '95 at Yankee Stadium. And and as the stadium's exploding, Gary Thorne is saying, "Hang on to the roof."
Yeah.
It's good,
right?
And the thing is, you can hear it in his voice how crazy that moment was, and you can hear like the stadium shaking pretty much. Not just feel it, like you can feel it through the TV, but you can see the stadium shake. That's how loud the fans were. But like, it's one of those things where I wish people can understand that and it's such an old school mindset to believe this, that baseball is a sleepy sport, that baseball is a sport.
Bob Wischusen. Bob Wischusen's so good. I love Bob Wischusen.
Yeah, he also mentioned Phil Scooter Rizzuto. Bro, how old are you?
Yeah, holy no, Josh is the same age as my uncle. He's about 43-ish, 42.
My bad.
Yeah, he's not old.
Jesus.
But like with Phil Rizzuto was fun for my grandfather remembers that era, and hearing Phil Rizzuto after every big play, holy cow, like
Yeah.
and the thing is you still hear that soundbite sometimes at Yankee Stadium for certain things. They play it rarely, but they do use it. But it's it's baseball is a sport where it's we could talk about it forever, but I wish people would stop looking at it of the lens of 2003 and look at it in the lens of 2026, where it's
yeah. Sorry, go finish up, Brandon. My bad.
because it's everybody's saying once again it's a slow sport. What as we're talking about that stuff a lot, and the commentary being slow and whatnot. Yeah, certain commentary is for certain
bad
teams.
commentary in baseball makes it so much worse.
It does make a difference.
It absolutely does. And honestly, I hate to admit it. One of the best calls that I've heard in baseball, I hated it obviously because it was against us. But Gibby Meet Freddie, holy crap!
That was great. Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, finish up, Brandon, because I was gonna say one more thing.
And the thing is, even like I was saying, I wanted to go back to what I was saying about a half hour ago with the whole everybody talking about the baseball purist and now saying that ABS is an issue because it takes 15 seconds. It's adding time onto the game. I'm like,
15 seconds is nothing. Get the call right.
I'm like, yeah, and I'm like,
that long to stand up from the couch.
And I'm like, in the span of a game. So games nowadays are no longer 3-4 hours long. They're about 240 around there. So you're adding with all the challenges, so you could challenge a lot, whatever. By the time with all these challenges, you're gonna add maybe what a max of 5 minutes onto the game. That's nothing.
I would argue more like a minute and a half.
I don't
think it's gonna be that egregious.
A lot and getting it right and keeping your challenge. That's what I'm saying. So
right.
You're adding max at the very high end 5 minutes. So that game at 240 is gonna be 245. It's still people also got to remember this. Football has a lot of commercials. Baseball does not. Football. When you sit down for a football game, you're sitting down from 1:00 in the afternoon to sometimes 4:15 waiting for a game to end. Baseball is not like that unless you go into extra innings, especially in the playoffs when there's no Manfred man. But baseball games these days are all around 2:30 to 2:45. All. So when you're saying it's a slow game, it doesn't make sense anymore.
I apologize. I apologize, guys. I need to get this out. So let me talk about my experience with baseball and why I'm still very young into baseball. One is my parents are Armenian. I tried to teach them basic baseball. They don't understand anything. It's fair, but they don't. And they don't understand the sport. So that's number one. Shane has always taught me baseball throughout the years. I just didn't get really into it. Number two, the Mariners sucked for so long. So that also kind of made me tear up.
Didn't help.
Also, another one of my close friends is a huge baseball fan. I'm going to try to get him on the show at some point. But he loves baseball. So he kind of helped me a little bit in middle school. And then the other thing I want to say about this, which I think is important, is just the ballpark experience of baseball is really fun, but I kind of hate going with people who don't know baseball. It's kind of like my one big kind of area where it's when I go, because when I used to go to baseball games, Scoop, I would go and I'd be like, oh, let me get a hot dog. Let me talk to my friends for hours. Now when I go to a baseball game, I'm sitting there and I'm watching every pitch and I'm doing, and now people who are like, let's go get a hot dog. And I'm like, guys, it's the fourth inning.
That's what the seventh inning stretch is for.
True. So it's I have a very different relationship with it now than I used to. But it's that's another thing too, is people are getting the ballpark experience wrong now, where the ballpark experience is, it's about the food and it's about talking with your friends. I'm like, you paid a premium for a ticket to watch the game, not to just sit there and talk for 3 hours. Do you just came back from? Do you get what I'm saying? I think people get the ballpark experience wrong too, and that's also kind of an issue.
Can I be a bit of a boomer here when it comes to because we're creating I know this might sound bad at first, but this is just how I view it. when I think about this, and they're creating, more of these like, kid play areas for like, little kids, and I'm like, why are you taking a child to a game that's not going to sit and watch it with you? Like,
let's
I don't
go meet the
understand.
mascot and take a photo with him.
Like,
Let's go take a photo of this
do
thing.
you know how pissed I would be if I wasted money to go to Yankee Stadium, like when I have my kids someday, and we're gonna be like, oh yeah, they have to go play in like this sensory room with other kids. I'm like, I'm at a baseball game. I don't want this. I wasted money on this.
Even me, who's max gonna spend going to Mariners games this year, probably $30 to $40, like just going to the game. I don't want to. I want to watch baseball. Like, that's why I'm going.
Like, as a little kid, like when I was a little kid getting into baseball around 6, around there, I went to my first baseball game at 8. And the thing is, so I was only a Yankee fan for 2 years at that point. Still baby, still new to sports and new to the game of baseball and all that stuff. And I said to my grandfather said, "Hey, we're going to Yankee Stadium today." I got up and I was crying tears of joy. I'm like, yes, we're going to Yankee Stadium. And the best part is, from that, I'll never forget that entire game. I did not go to the bathroom once. I did not get up from my seat once. I sat there. I watched all 9 innings as an 8-year-old. That's how much I love the sport. Now when I go to games, I'm the same way. The only time I will ever get up is if it's a blowout and I got to use the bathroom, or right before I get to my seat, right before the game starts, I'll get something to eat. But when I sit down in that seat, I am there for 9 innings or more if I need to be.
Dude,
I don't care, bro.
I went to a game with we got like a T-Mobile deal, because how T-Mobile's like big with MLB and stuff. We got a T-Mobile deal from one of our friends who works there. And I've went with some of my other friends to baseball games, and I've been trying to teach them baseball, so that's why I go with them partially. But they were like, we have seats in the 350 level. I was like, nope, goodbye, peace. I literally went up to my mom and my friends, and I went, hey, sorry guys, bye. And I go to the T-Mobile Pen, which is where I get there. I get a Great State Burger, which is like one of our kind of local burger chains here. I wanted to try it, so I get that. I get alcoholic beverage. I go right where you used to be the Root Sports booth, right there, like right in the middle. And I just stood there for 3 hours watching baseball. Yeah. I did nothing. I didn't move. I didn't go up. And my friends were like, come up with us. I was like, nope, I'm good. I'll stand right here until the game is over. And then I moved over to the 100 level for fireworks.
To me, when I'm going to a game, when everybody tells me, oh, we're going to a football game or a hockey game or a basketball, whatever it is, unless it's halftime sometimes half times are long depending on the game, but unless it's halftime or it's like I said, unless it's a blowout or unless it's halftime, I won't get up from my seat. I will sit there and watch every play. For me, it's standing. Second.
I stand in the pen because I hate the seating, like the 300 level seating, and that or the bleacher seating and the 300 level seating at T-Mobile Park stinks. But guess what? I buy bleacher seats. I spend $10 for bleacher seats. The pen is available for anybody. Yeah. Go there early, watch batting practice, go.
When you get to when you and Shane get over here, and hopefully it's during the summer at some point,
yeah.
I don't know if it'd be this year, next year, whatever it is. Whenever you guys do, Yankee Stadium, you have to sit there. Hey, I know. Shane's been there.
By the way, I trust you guys to hold me up. You guys are stronger than me. So if I bubble, you guys will just hold me and I'll be fine. I'll get comfortable quick.
And the best part is, when it comes to Yankee Stadium, I've sat everywhere there. I've sat all the way up. I've sat on the first baseline, third baseline. I've sat in the bleachers. My favorite spot to sit, it was only a place I started sitting in the last 2 or 3 years. sitting in the bleachers in the outfield is beautiful. Not just bleacher creatures, but the bleachers. Everybody goes nuts out there, more so than the people in the actual seats. When you're in the bleachers, you're high-fiving the hell out of people. You're sitting there, everybody's sitting there like chanting obscenities at the other team.
I'll leave my fear of heights at the door and I'll do it. But I just think at T-Mobile Park, it's bad. I genuinely think it's bad. The 100 level is fun, but like, dude, that's how I feel about going to the Pen at T-Mobile Park. It's just like you're literally standing with random people, and every time a home run gets hit, you're high-fiving people. You're just standing there, having the best time ever. And I've showed you guys the view. It's a beautiful view. You're right at left field, like right by center field, like center to left field. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's the best view in the park to me. Like it's unbelievable.
The best stadiums I will ever go to will always be ballparks.
Yeah,
because like football, as much as I've been to the Link once. I loved it. I want to go back, but baseball tickets are still affordable. It's just you got to know where to buy the tickets at and when.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, credit to the Mariners. Credit to the Mariners. Even after making the American League Championship Series, there's some good series that are cost only $10. There's some good ass series that are $10, which is impressive.
Like to me, like when you look at other leagues, like football is just not cheap for anybody. Football is a rich man's game. Yeah. Hockey is still cheap, even though it's getting more expensive. But hockey's still cheap. Basketball is still cheap. But football's like a no-go. I can never go to football games because it's just
unless I'm broadcasting it on location, I don't care to go to a football game. I really don't.
And the thing is, you see more on TV. You see more on TV than you do in the actual game. Whereas baseball, you've got it. You have baseball. Like everybody's like, oh, baseball, you can experience it on TV. Nah, baseball has to be experienced live. Baseball's fun live.
I'm literally the minute I go back to T-Mobile Park this year, I'm gonna post on social media and be like, I'm home. Because that's how I felt last year going. You know, when you're back that first week, when you're back there, you're just like, yes.
Like I said, as close as we all live here to New York City in this area, if the Yankees never played in New York City, I would never go there. I go there because I love my team so much, and being at Yankee Stadium is like, for most people, that's a bucket list thing because it's Yankee Stadium. Yeah. I'm glad to say I can go every year, sometimes 2 or 3 times a year. Like that's, and the thing is, I know my way around that stadium like the back of my hand. It's the Bronx, it's New York City. The Yankee Stadium layout doesn't change. You know, they don't move the walls back like the bullshit that the Orioles do. You know, like regarding all that stuff. Like, and that's the thing too. I've never been to MSG. I don't want to. First of all, I hate the Rangers, so I would never go. I hate the Knicks. I'm a Nets fan. Don't want to go. And on top of that, why would I go to that? Why would I go watch them play over there when I'm not a fan of either team and I don't want to go to concerts there when everything is 3 times the amount of money that it is here across the river?
Yeah, and again, I'm not comparing T-Mobile Park to Yankee Stadium. You can't, because obviously. But I realized last year when I was really into it, going to games, how much I love that ballpark. How much I just love being there. It's just, you know what I mean? Because it's a ballpark. It's not Yankee Stadium. Yeah. It will never be Yankee Stadium. But it's just being at a ballpark is a special experience. It just is.
And like
privilege to be able to go for like $10 to $15 2 to 3 times a year.
And like I was telling you guys, when it comes to Yankee Stadium, it's one of those things where it's not just so a lot of the old ball clubs, so like Wrigley Field for the Cubs, Fenway for the Red Sox, you know, Yankee Stadium. I wish there was nothing wrong with the old stadium. I wish they would have kept it, but regardless, it is what it is.
I wish they just would have renovated it instead of just making a
exactly. New one. That's right. Yeah, that's what I would have had them do too. But the thing is, like, you know, everybody talks about this, especially with the Yankees, only because of the rich history. But everybody talks about, like, Yankee Stadium is the one place where you walk into. I've walked into a game there in April in cold weather when I was 8 years old, especially the old Yankee Stadium, because I can say I got to be there, and I've gotten to walk through the gates, you know, ever since 2008. And every time, no matter if it's a 1 o'clock game, a 7 o'clock game, a playoff game, there's a little more. It might not seem like there's a lot of electricity, like for a random game, but you can feel a little bit of juice in the stadium more so than any other team in the league. You feel you feel the ghosts of Yankees past. There's something you can feel there about Yankee Stadium that makes it special.
Yeah, I'll say this. I went to it was 2022 Game 4 of the ALCS, that series that we got swept by Houston when Houston was still beating us. But I was like, again, we did not play well that series at all. LeMahieu was hurt, Benintendi was hurt. We had all that shit going on. But being in that environment, the music that they played, just just everything about the experience from the baseball, just otherwise, you couldn't hear yourself think in that stadium. I would. Josh is saying the Garden's dumb expensive. He talked about the Knicks and the Rangers. I've been to the Garden, but it wasn't for the Knicks or the Rangers. It was to watch Shoe versus St. John's, and they kicked the shit out of us. The new Yankee Stadium is literally nothing like the old one. They never should have built it. I'll say this. I actually kind of agree more with Josh on the new Yankee Stadium thing. Insofar as just I something about it to me, at least before the baseball is being played, like when the baseball being played, obviously there's nothing like it, but the before and afterward, it just feels so corporate. It feels very I don't get that sort of, like, for example, when I go to Fenway Park, I get that feeling of like Ted Williams, and this is where they had this is where the curse was, but this is where Yaz played, this is where Clemens played, this all this stuff. I can't say that I feel the same way at Yankee Stadium. Like even when I went to Wrigley, like there's just something about the actual place where those guys played. It just you can't really substitute it. Josh also said he was at David Wells' perfect game. LOL. I wasn't born yet, but that is
my
awesome.
mom. My mom went to a Felix Hernandez no hitter and didn't know what was happening. It made me so upset.
Back up. His perfect game in 2012.
Yeah, she went to that game and she didn't know what's happening.
I will never forget that game. We were listening to it on the radio because my dad and I had gone to a Rochester Red Wings game that day. We were listening to it in the car, like the radio call, and that call.
Sacred Heart, Seton Hall, Josh.
Hall, my God. And that call by Dave Sims, who we all know how that played out with him ending up at WFAN to succeed. I say succeed. John Sterling, because nobody ever replaces John Sterling.
Right.
But just, oh my gosh, that game, listening to it, my dad, for whatever reason, didn't have his own car. He had my grandfather's Chevy HHR, and listening to it on FM radio, it just, oh my gosh, that is probably the perfect game that I remember the most out of any of the ones that I've gotten to either hear or watch.
It's funny because I think it was that one. She was like, we have a suite at work and we're all going. I begged my mom. I was like, please, just take me with you. Please, for the love of God, just take me with you. And she went, I'm sorry, it's a company event. And the minute it happened. I think it was that game. It was some no-hitter or something. I think it was Felix's.
I think Felix only threw one, didn't he?
Yeah, so that might have been it with the perfect game. The story that she tells me that's always my favorite one is the game ends and everyone stands up and starts going woo and starts clapping. And she's like, why is everyone clapping? And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. It was just so good. I don't know.
I look like a fish.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
His perfect game, at least from what I've seen.
Was that against Baltimore? Was that Baltimore? Tampa. I know she went to like a no-hitter again. I think it was Baltimore. I could be wrong.
12,
so there may have been another one.
12 strikeouts, and guess what? Just in typical Mariners fashion, you gave them no run support. They won 1-0.
By the way, before we go, because I know we're kind of
I don't even want to read what Josh just said, so go ahead.
What did he say?
I have a theory about that. I will say, I love John Sterling to death. His last couple years were not good.
I also
By the
heard
end,
they weren't
by
good.
the end, he wasn't good.
The-
Yeah.
oh! If you want to talk about at the very end, sure, I could level with that. But if he's talking about his full career, because it sounds like he got.
Oh yeah, then hell no.
It sounds like he got to see his entire career. But anyway, Rob, going back to you. Sorry.
So since we're talking about baseball stadiums, which is apropos, because I decided to make that our background, because yesterday we were watching obviously that Australia Chinese Taipei game. The Tokyo Dome is now officially on my bucket list, guys. I mean, this stadium is gorgeous.
Look at that.
I mean, it is absolutely beautiful, and then just the environment, the WBC environment is just insane. And Fox doesn't do a good job of capturing stadium audio because I don't know. I think there's rules that prevent them from doing it. But that environment is just beautiful, man. It's unbelievable. It's a bucket list for me. Like that is again. I mean, and also I love the base paths. Like I love how the base paths are different. Just such a unique ballpark. I love it. It's unbelievable. Getting to watch WBC late at night with that as your backdrop is pretty special.
Oh yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for tomorrow too. I'm excited for them to play Brazil. I'm excited for the U.S. against Brazil. I'm excited for this whole tournament. Like I know, we were talking about this among ourselves. Josh, myself, a couple of other guys. You know, like Barnes. Barnes was talking about. Barnes said originally he's like, oh, I don't care for the WBC or something along those lines. Like, you know, I'm just caring about what the Yankees in spring training and what I'm like if you don't care about like the WBC is better than anything you could watch in spring training. It just is. Like it's
Josh. Oh my God,
Walkman,
man!
with the
Walkman. I
awesome.
need a Walkman, man. I love Walkmans.
Do they exist anymore?
Yeah, you can find them online. You know what's funny?
Guys, I need to say this real quick. Did you guys see what just came out football wise?
What?
No.
Texans and Daniel Hunter agreed to terms on a 1 year, $40.1 million contract.
Good move.
Including a $30.7 million signing bonus.
Can I make that in 1 year? What do I got to do?
Good move.
How can I do it? How can I make that in 1 year myself?
Good move.
Yes.
Weird take. It's a good move. Weird take. It's a good move. It's a lot of money, but it's a good move. I love it.
I mean, I don't hate that take to begin with, but like, oh my gosh, the NFL is rapidly going to start becoming the NBA in terms of just paying like these 1 or 2 year deals, but for these asinine numbers of money.
By the way,
he's a Hall of Famer, and he was fantastic last year.
Keep this in mind. 301 million point whatever it is definitely a small amount of money by NFL standards, but it allows them to, because part of the reason the Texans are doing this is because they have to clear the floor. They have to clear the floor. So they're clearing the floor by giving Danielle Hunter what else, which is smart. Honestly, I think that's a smart move. I don't hate that. I'd be very curious to see what the incentives
I didn't mean to say it was a bad. I didn't mean to imply it was a bad move. I was just looking at it and I was thinking to myself, there's no way I saw a 1 year deal for $40 freaking million.
Hey, welcome to the NFL offseason, man. I do love the fact that he's only getting paid $4 million more than Daniel did the transition tag, which is gross.
Why do I have a feeling that we haven't covered everything we were going to tonight?
Well, because we haven't, because we technically never did. But no, because Rob, what he wanted to be sure that he got that, because he wanted to make sure that we got into talking about the disagreement that the three of us were having last night about the Cardinals taking Jeremiah Love at number 3 overall.
We did that though. We talked about mostly just like so let's go into this really. Let's finish up with this because I know we're getting on time. And by the way, a Walkman's great. Speaking of that, really quick, the Sony Walkman, the last Sony Walkman to ever come out was in 2018. They still made them.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago. I don't think.
It wasn't that long ago.
I thought those things stopped being made in like the 90s.
Nope. The last
No.
iPod Touch was made in 2019.
That one I knew.
But
I
but
thought
so
I thought the Walkman was like the grandfather to the iPod. My bad.
it is,
Oh,
but
wait
they
a
still
minute.
made new ones.
Well, it's saying that the lifespan of it is actually still to today. It says July 1st,
Are they
1970.
still making more of them? They
It
are.
says
Wow,
July.
that's insane.
It says July 1st, 1979 to present.
Yeah, so they're still making them.
I wonder
Just
how
with
much
better
that would cost
technology
these
and stuff.
days.
About $150 last I checked.
Hell no.
But I checked so here's my thing, and this might sound stupid to some of you, and I get it. There was no such thing as a delay back then. That's right. Yeah, no delay. Like the streaming delays and radio delays and stuff. Yeah, that is true. But so something that I no love to the cards. I'm not giving cards love here. I'm just talking about this. Just bigger thing. So I have this thing, a really weird thing, where I think that when it comes to the NFL draft, when you're in the top, I would say 5, I think it for top 5, sure. Top 10, maybe. Top 15 is a stretch. I think your job as an NFL GM is to think, can this guy in the top 5, let's put it that way, in the top 5, be a generational Hall of Famer, Ring of Honor type guy? That should be your goal. I think the Raiders, I disagree with it, but I think the Raiders look at Mendoza and think of that. And by the way, Mendoza, even if we don't believe he's that ceiling of a player, you need a quarterback. That's just the reality of the NFL. So we'll skip that. I think when you look at a guy like Jeremiah Love, I think when you look at a guy like Kenyon Sadiq, I think when you look at I keep forgetting the guy. Sorry, guys. I'm still getting used to these prospects. When you look at Averill Reese, who the Jets are going to look at their selection. Style, I'm not putting in that category just yet as generational. Yeah. I think both Styles brothers can be, but I'm not there yet. Yeah, let me see. I always forget the other guy's name, so I apologize.
Caleb Downs?
Not Caleb Downs. No. David Bailey. So I think let's put Mendoza in the conversation for now. I don't think he's generational, but we'll see. Please God, no, if you give him the love, Jeremiah. I think Mendoza, Bailey, Love, Reese, and Kenyon Sadiq are generational talents. I think you have a responsibility in the top 5 of the NFL draft to draft a Hall of Famer, to draft a guy that you think is as close to a Hall of Famer as possible, even if you don't have that as your need. So I think Jeremiah Love, running backs are pretty plentiful across the NFL. You don't really need to draft a running back in the first round. You can get running backs in 5th to 7th, doesn't matter. But Jeremiah Love, to me, is a generational talent. You take him. I think Kenyon Sadiq, I think even if you don't need a tight end, you grab him and you trade your current tight end. Because I just think he's that special of a player. But I think, and this goes back to what we're saying about good teams versus bad teams, I think, and this kind of goes, Brandon, you can kind of jump off this. I think the teams like the Jets, the Giants, the Cardinals, Raiders, right? The teams that are at the top of this draft. And I get it, like Reese and Bailey, for example, is perfect for the Jets because it actually fills a need and they can be generational talents. But part of it is they can draft the generational talent, but they don't know how to build a team around them. And so it's like, do you want to take the guy that you can build a team around or take a generational talent? My position has always been, if you're in especially the top 5, you take the generational talent, no matter if it's a position of need or not, aside from quarterback, right? If you have a Patrick Mahomes, you're not taking Mendoza, right? Obviously, because Mahomes is generational. But what I'm saying is, besides quarterback, we'll take that out because every team needs a quarterback. If you have a generational talent, doesn't matter if it's a position of need or not. If you're like, he would be an upgrade right now if we can develop him. Like Jeremiah Love to the Chiefs, I think is perfect, but I think the Saints are probably going to get him. Beside the point. I think your job as an NFL front office in the top 5 is to get a guy that you think can be a generational talent and be in your ring of honor. And then from rounds 2 to 7, you fill needs. That's how I've always viewed the NFL draft. And that's always been my position.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, you can go from there. But that's always been my position. If you're in the top 5, you
Yeah.
take a generational guy, and then from 2 to 7, you figure out the rest, other than quarterback.
I realized like over when I thought about it between after we got off of Discord last night, and I thought about it today too, because I knew that that's one of the things we were going to hit on was this discussion, and I was thinking about it more and more. My stand hasn't changed too much, but I made not an exception to it. I guess I made a little bit of a tweak to it. I still think that, like, put it this way, you draft best player available. Position of need that you have, like the biggest position of need that you have, if that guy is not like the most outstanding, one of the most outstanding players, I feel like, then okay, you might be able to go best player available. But
really quick, can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
Josh said the Giants should have never drafted Saquon. Yes, they should have. I think that's stupid. Because, let's be honest here, in 20 years, Saquon will be in your ring of honor. That's how good he was for 7 years. At the end of the day, and I understand, and this is my point, I think the Giants should have drafted Saquon, but should have figured out their offensive line to help him in the years after. That's my point. The Giants shouldn't have drafted Saquon is stupid when the Giants, sorry, Josh, for saying this, but Saquon's going to be in your ring of honor. He just will. He's going to be in that ring of honor.
Remember, Josh is a Jets fan, so
still, I'm just saying. And by the way, the Jets have done this too, where they take a guy, whatever. But what I'm saying is, no, the Giants absolutely should have drafted him. The issue is the Giants are so bad of an organization, they never figured out, hey, we have this ring of honor Hall of Fame level player. Let's put an offensive line around him. They didn't know what the hell to do. Yeah. But they still should have drafted him because at the end of the day, he will be in your rafters and he will be a Hall of Famer. Well, that's the entire point.
The thing that I think of, and this is what I was pushing back on last night, like at least like in my eyes, is when you have 1,000 holes and you can go anywhere. But we always but what's the one thing that Shane always says to us on the show? If you're gonna win anything in this league, you have to have it in the trenches.
Yep.
So for the true, but it's like, oh yeah, but like you have bad teams who are riddled by injuries and they get the first overall draft pick, whatever it is. Okay, it's like, okay, but you know that you have a somewhat decent O-line, you have a somewhat decent D-line. Okay, you don't touch that. Then to me, you can draft that best player available there. But then I'm looking at it like, it's like, to me, it's not the no individual means more than the team. So
yeah.
So to me, like when I think about it that way, it's like, would Saquon be in the Giants ring of honor? Yeah. But they didn't win anything with it going like to pick him. It was great because they needed that running back. They did. They had nothing there, but they had nothing there before him. And at least they did something there. But a lot of these bad teams stay bad because they don't address those, because they're going best player available so early. And I'm not saying to address all your needs, obviously, like address your biggest need in round one, like. But when we talk about like round one, and we always hear throughout the entire draft process, what are these teams' biggest needs? So it's like, if you like, and when you were saying, oh, if you have a good tight end you like, and then it's like, so it's like, let's say the Raiders. I mean, I know they're gonna take Mendoza, but let's say the Raiders then like jumped back in around like pick 9, whatever it is, and like, okay, saying, hey, we might want Kenyon Sadiq. Well, Brock Bowers is there. So you're not going to trade away Brock Bowers.
They're not going to do that because Brock Bowers to me is generational. That's the thing.
I'm saying like if you even have a halfway decent tight end, like if you have like this is why I didn't like when they were talking about the Chargers moving off of their rookie tight end last year. I don't get that because he had a great rookie year and you let him develop, and you're not going to be in position to draft a tight end anyway. So,
but again, if I'm the Chargers, he's better than that rookie. He's better, and I'll add.
But you're not in that position though to do that though. That's what I'm saying.
I still think you do it. Now here's the other piece of this that I found interesting that I forgot to mention yesterday that we can talk about now. Let's need again, the Rams know what the heck they're doing compared to other teams at the top. They said the Rams will use free agency to avoid being desperate in the draft. Well, that allows the Rams to take best player available, pretty much. And so I think this is also an interesting thought. Eli was done. They should have drafted a quarterback. I don't think there were good quarterbacks in that class, from my recollection, at that slot that were going to be better than Saquon overall. And Eli wasn't. By the way, the Giants wanted to keep Eli around. That was key for them. So they weren't going to do that.
It was 2018, anyway. So they had everyone that year but Baker Mayfield. So they had Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, Sam Darnold.
But we didn't know how good that class was going to be.
Well, we never know how good that class is going to be.
Yeah.
But we pretty much. I remember going into that draft class again. Not the right take looking back on it. But I said this quarterback class is terrible. It's not that good. It was much better than what I thought it was going to be, so I definitely was wrong. But that's the thing. Why quarterback is so hit and miss. If you don't love the class, which, by the way, I don't think the Giants like the class, take the surefire superstar and Saquon Barkley. It's really a no-brainer.
Because you know what my thinking. You know what my thinking is for sports, though, is just any sport, is the good teams that stay good don't take the best player available. They take what they need and they keep building from the inside out. And then they take the skill players, or they either get them in free agency later on, or they take the skill players last. Like, to me, if you're an organization, I get when you're picking so early, top 5, whatever it is, you want all the big names to come off the board, and usually they will. But then these teams, to me, like when I look at the teams that get good and stay good, they don't draft, like, even when they have a one down year, they don't draft the sexy guy. They draft the guy that is going to start their process building forward the right way.
This is the aspect of this I think people aren't understanding. What I'm saying is, and again, I as a non-observer of like actual NFL front office and what they do to prepare for the draft, I have a list of guys and I'm like, this guy will be generational. I could be 100% wrong on all of these guys, and that's fair. So part of it is I don't know what teams are going to say when it comes to, do they actually think Jeremiah Love is generational? I don't know. But my point being like the best example I can give, Ashton Genty last year. They needed offensive line. They still do, the Raiders. But you don't screw that up. You take him because he's going to be in your Ring of Honor in 12 years. It was the most obvious selection possible, regardless of the offensive line.
But like you know what I've noticed too is like when you like and I'm not saying it's bad one way or the other to either take your need or take BPA.
And again, that's the hard part. There's a balance that teams understand.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That's what we're saying.
Like, but the thing, like what I think is, like, in my mind, like if I'm a GM and in ownership, what I'm thinking of for me going into a draft process is I guess with given my roster, how far away, like, because these are things that they think of too, but how far away am I from winning a division / contending, or
the
hell,
Giants? Josh is saying the Giants. The Giants every year think they can win the Super Bowl. The Cowboys think every year they can win the Super Bowl. How delusional it is, but that's the thing.
Yeah, but what I'm thinking of too is like this is how I kind of like it sounds crazy to not take BPA early on, but in my mind the way it works is like, you look at guys who were drafted, very early on and superstar Hall of Famers, but they all we look at Barry Sanders. They gave him nothing in Detroit for years. Yep. He retired early. He was miserable by the end of it. The only thing
Calvin Johnson, another one.
They're like, Calvin Johnson. Calvin Johnson was another one. I mean, hell, even for a long time, Reggie White was another one. Like, it's and the thing
revolutionized
is,
this process that we're starting.
yeah, and then Reggie White was the forefather of all this. But it's like, I think about it, it's like, wow, that's great for the team. Like in 20, 30 years, you got to make it count. Like, BPA is important because obviously if you build up enough, good players, you're not going to be in a position to draft BPA because you're going to have a late first round pick, whatever it is. But because you're going to end up being somewhere at least middle of the road to where your BPA might just end up being like the second or third best running back in the group in the class.
Right.
But like, I just like it's a very fine line. But it's like, if I'm the Cardinals, because I know we keep talking about them, but if I'm the Cardinals, you don't have a quarterback, you have you have so many different things that I don't think putting a skill player there is gonna make you, or like, it might help his career in the long run, but it could also, like RG3, it could also tear his ACL out of his body, and it's over. It's because you're not doing anything to help.
And I'd also add to that. I mean, I agree that there's kind of it's kind of a balance between BPA and need. But I also would say that probably based on, because every team's got a draft board, right? I would probably say that a lot of teams probably influence their BPA on their draft board based on need in the first place. So
True.
and on top of that, I mean, the whole origination of this, if that's a word, the whole origin of this was the discussion, I mean, obviously around Jeremiah Love, the amount of teams that sit in the top 10 that are going to be looking at him that have no, and as of right now, it's March 5th. Okay. So this could wildly change by April 20, whateverness.
23rd. Yeah.
23rd. Thank you. So in the next, 49 days, I don't see, other than the Chiefs, I don't see a team that has not even an average run blocking line. I don't see a team that has even remotely close to average. And with that, I think if you're putting in, because I mean, we already know he's not going one to Las Vegas. Right. I'm looking at teams, like, people keep talking about the New Orleans Saints. People keep talking about the who's picking right before the Saints? Who's picking 7?
Commanders.
Say again?
Commanders,
right? Oh, that's right. Like, hey. So just looking at how the board falls right before them. There are teams that I think would absolutely draft him. Yeah, I don't think a single one of them should, because what good is taking a so-called surefire, can't miss, blue chip, whatever the hell you want to say, of which, let's be honest, none of us know who those guys are actually going to be.
And that's also part of it, is I'm making this list based on my own thought process of what I saw.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm probably way off on some guys. Probably.
Yeah,
I'm not afraid to say that.
It's the same thing as like when we're talking about like with Gadsden. It's like, oh, if the Chargers had a chance to get Sadiq, you take Sadiq over Gadsden. But Gadsden had a great rookie season. Like, if I'm Washington, I get that Jeremiah Love is phenomenal. But you had a guy last year who in 7 starts and Krosky Merritt had over 800 yards rushing and 4.6 yards per carry. Like, you have a good running back there already. You need an O-line to protect Jaden Daniels. You don't need the running back.
Well, and thank you for mentioning the O-line, because you're literally just kind of helping me with the point that I was already making, because I don't understand, have teams not watched teams and fans not watched the last 5-10 years? How long or how often do we get these sustainable running backs that are for anything beyond 2 years? I'll say that without an offensive line in front of them have any sort of sustained success.
Can I add this really quick? Because this is part of my point that I want to say. Let's say you're Washington and you draft Jeremiah Love. You need offensive line. The offensive line group we saw on Sunday at the Combine, this offensive line group is pretty good. What's stopping you from going and getting one in the second round? What's stopping you from getting one in the third round? What's stopping you from trading up in the first round and getting one early? You have to get a group of 5 guys. What's stopping you of doing that?
Well, first and foremost, getting back up in the first round. First of all, that implies that a team wants to move back out of the first round in order to, whatever Washington would offer. There are 2 or 3 offensive linemen that I think can go very early between Maiua, Fano, and the other one whose name is escaping me right now. So I mean, if you can like these guys, enough to take them in the second or third round, which is all well and good. But typically, if your line is considered if your line is that bad from a run blocking standpoint, typically you don't just need one offensive lineman. So
you have second round to 7th round to take as many as you want. Why not do it?
This is just something funny. I had to bring this in here. I didn't realize that that Gadsden for the Chargers. I didn't realize that he was the son of a former NFL player. I didn't realize that. Like I didn't realize that he shares the same name as his father. I was like, oh my god, there's 2 Oronde Gadsdens in the NFL. Like that's weird. I'm like, oh, but never mind. It didn't click in my brain that it's father and son, that they have the same name. It's just
no, it's man, the era in which we're living, where we're starting to see kids of players that we watched, is just so weird. But Jackson Holiday is one example that I can think of. But as obviously another sport. But it's just I hear what everyone is saying and what everyone's telling me, and I'm not disputing that. I think Jeremiah Love could have that level of upside. Yeah. My question is, are you putting him in the position to even remotely reach that upside if you're putting him into something without at least something established there? Because, pardon me, it's just these guys, teams talk about chemistry. Teams talk about chemistry on the lines. They talk about chemistry in the backfield, whatever. Those things take, every player's development takes time, right? So, looking at, unless you're, just coming out the gate like a freaking, whoever you want to name over the last few years. And please, nobody say Caleb Williams. But it's just,
I'm skipping quarterbacks for this discussion because everyone needs a quarterback. I'm skipping that. I'm not talking about quarterbacks.
Yeah, but I just that was the issue that I was having because mostly it's been New Orleans. So Washington I just brought up because again it was in that range. I don't think Washington is really going to be looking at him all that much. I mean, they'll probably do his due diligence, obviously, but I don't think that he's going to end up being their pick. Excuse me. But I struggle with looking at what we know now about the running game, just in general, not for any specific team, but just in general. Like, wouldn't you want to, if you think a guy really has that upside, wouldn't you also want to be making sure you're putting him in a position to achieve even remotely close to that upside? And that's why I think
do wrong. That's what teams do wrong too. That's the problem.
Look, that's part of my point is, are we looking at, if you like, I can see why the team would want to take him, 3rd overall or 4th overall and be able to say, hey, we got Jeremiah Love. Okay, great. But excuse me, sorry. I mean, you can have the best caviar in the world. You go and mix it with marinara sauce. It ain't gonna do you anything.
It's not necessarily a stupid argument. More of where's the yin and yang of it, but also which teams are gonna put these guys in the best place for success.
Right.
And again, I think that's the thing. When you look at teams that win the Super Bowl, what are you doing in 5 through 7 in the undrafted range? The Seahawks just signed a linebacker who is a 6th, 7th round selection who started for them 17 games, who was projected to be a practice squad player. He was a really good rotation linebacker last year. So you never know.
But again, we're talking the Seahawks. Like we talked earlier about the Patriots, the Broncos. Now we're talking the Seahawks. These are organizations that have proven annually, for the most part, that they are well run and that they know how to find talent and in the drafts and otherwise. We ain't talking about those teams when we're talking about the Cardinals, when we're talking about the Raiders, whether when we're talking about the Giants, the Commanders, when we're talking about the we ain't talking about those types of teams. If we were talking about those types of teams, that'd be a much different conversation, I think.
Exactly. No, and that again, that's why I think the conversation is really good, because it is a conversation that it has two different viewpoints, but it also just showcases how good the top end of the NFL is versus how bad the bottom is. Because what some GMs have said this before, and I'm forgetting who said it, but basically it's like in the NFL, you're really competing with about 15 teams, the 15 teams that know how to run an organization, and the rest can go by the wayside. And I think that's 100% accurate in terms of what the league is. And again, it's not just the NFL. We talked about it earlier. It's the NBA has this, the NHL has this, Major League Baseball has this, and baseball. We've talked about the pieces that they need to fix to get the Pirates, for example, to actually spend money.
Yeah.
But again, it is interesting. But that's kind of why I wanted to bring it up, because I just thought it was an interesting conversation of just, I'm always the proponent of take the generational talent, but there's also issues of like, okay, you think they're a generational talent, but you never know. I can go in the NFL, have all the hype in the world, and it doesn't mean anything.
You also never know. Like, he has generational upside. Can he realize that upside in your organization? Like,
exactly.
The canonical example is, Pat Mahomes, right? Does he become Pat Mahomes if he ain't behind Alex Smith, being coached by Andy Reid, and having GM as his, or Brett Veach as his GM, or whoever it was at the time?
That's pretty much it, right? So thanks for letting me have that little squabble. I needed that.
Yeah, no, I and that's what I like when we have conversations, because I think there's a lot of things in sports that or on this show that we tend to, it doesn't tend to be that controversial or whatever the case may be. So I like when we get into these topics where it's people can add different, sauces and whatnot. I really hate that we're doing this, that I'm doing this way, but I did want to, we did want to talk really quickly, but we wanted to do it, more than really quickly, but I do want to get the mention out there. Rest in peace to one of the greatest coaches of this past era in any sport. Lou Holtz passed away earlier this week, and I apologize that that this is kind of how this is being discussed, because I really should have mentioned this earlier before we were about to sign off.
I'll say this too, really quick, Scoop. I think the thing that I want to have happen, this is going to sound weird, what I want to have happen when I pass away is have the multitude of people on the internet, on Twitter, just being like, I loved Lou Holtz because he did this for my life. He did this for my family. He did this for my kids. He did this for my career. That is the greatest honor you can have in your life.
Absolutely.
Is having people just be like, this guy meant the world to me because of these things. And this is what I want to honor. And I think for me, sitting down yesterday and seeing that was special. That's I think, just to me, Scoop, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that to me, seeing that, it's like, bro, that's everything. When you pass away, to have people be like, this guy meant the world to me because of this and this.
Did you guys see what Notre Dame's AD, what Pete Bevacqua said today?
No, what did he say? What did he say?
Because because obviously Pete played for him, and also Pete said that he grew up as a fan, obviously, before going to the program. He knew a lot about him. He knew that he said he had posters or magazines, whatever, on his wall, of him, whatever it was, as a larger than life figure kind of a thing. And he said that everything that man, because he was almost he was emotional talking about it, not gonna cry or anything, but you could see how much Lou Holtz meant to him, and why now he's the AD at Notre Dame. And it's he was saying stuff like this man was my idol. This man was the reason I chose to come here when I was a kid. This man, this man changed our program forever. And he's like, I couldn't. And he's like, and the crazy thing is, I got to work closely with him the last 15 years. He's like, I became good friends with him. He's like, this man meant everything to me. And he's like, this sport wouldn't be what it is without him. And he's like, that's not just saying that just to say that as like a sweet thing. He's like, no, he's like, genuinely, this sport would not be what it is without Lou Holtz.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's when people talk about you that way, where it's not just them being nice, but they mean it. It's a whole different level of special. And it's
absolutely. And a lot of discussion obviously is had about, I mean, we know his legendary Notre Dame tenure, what he did in other places too, what he did in Arkansas. He had NC State back in '74. He had them as in top 10 in both in the coaches poll and 11th in the AP poll. He even toward the end of his career, his last stop being with South Carolina, he got them to a top 13 spot in both polls in 2001. And excuse me, sorry. Just it obviously there's so many very notable reasons why he deserved to be talked about for his Notre Dame reign. He still was 149, 102, and 5 as a coach everywhere else, which is when you're coaching for places like Minnesota and Arkansas and William and Mary and NC State and South Carolina in the early 2000s, not an easy number to pull in any stretch or record to pull in any stretch of the imagination. So just again, rest in peace, Lou Holtz, and I very much agree with what Rob said a few moments ago. At the age of 89, what do they say? Heroes are remembered, legends never die, and his legacy is going to far outlast the time that he was with us on Earth, and as it should, and just rest in peace to him, and my love goes out to his loved ones, and just thank you, Coach Holtz, for everything that you did, and every award imaginable, from the great Bear Bryant Award to Coach of the Year in I think it's 4 different conferences. Guy was a Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient back in 2020. Guy had about the quintessential football life as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, by far, unbelievable, great stuff. Yeah,
I
think
guys,
that's a good way to end it, Scoop. I think that's a great way to end it.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for coming on. We had a lot of activity today, especially from the TCA humans. I want to just say shout out to them real quick, especially Josh. Josh was really on one today. I really enjoyed that. We got to get him on the show one of these weeks. Wouldn't surprise me if ND wins it all that year or wins it all next year. Rest in peace, Coach Holtz. You know what? I know that'll make Paul Rosen happy. So God bless him if that's how it works out. But I just, again, thank you everybody who tuned in. Great show as always. Looking forward to, we've got, again, spring training going on right now. We've got the WBC is going to be kind of more in its throes next week. We've got the league year kicking off. I know that we talked a little bit behind the scenes. Be looking for us to have some updates on coverage for that. And looking forward to Rob. You're kind of the mastermind of it all. When's FAH going to go live again on this network?
We are going. I haven't announced it yet because I've been so sick. 10:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, March 12th. So 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific, March 12th.
So we ain't doing one this weekend then.
No, we aren't. We're doing a free agency frenzy kind of special a day later because Shane has baseball games going on, which I might join him there and go watch some JV varsity baseball. Kenny, we're doing a mock draft show as well. I'll let you know the details for that. So I'm gonna make sure you join us for that. We are doing one. We do one every year.
Yeah,
so we
absolutely.
are doing one. Doing one, and we can combine for that as well if we get everyone involved.
Awesome.
But yeah,
looking
so
forward to it.
I've been able to properly announce it because I've been dying. But yeah, that is our time next week, 10:30.
All right, so we'll see y'all then. So that'll be very exciting week of shows and content. You mentioned mock draft. I'll just mention this. in the next day or two, you guys, Rob has been helping me with this. I'll be sending out and producing my first mock draft with FAH, and that'll be coming out in the next few days as well. So hopefully you guys will enjoy
on
it.
our Substack. On our
Mhm.
Substack, we'll make
on
sure to
our
release that
Substack.
as much as possible. I know Brandon's working on a Oregon article, talking about the Oregon kids.
Yep.
Coming
I'm
out
looking
next few
forward
days.
to seeing that.
I still need questions. Want people to send in questions because I watched every bit of the combine. I need like at least 5 questions
By the way,
on combine stuff so I can do an article on it whenever I get the chance to.
the response about you watching every second of the combine, that sort of sarcastic response, by the way, that was me.
I genuinely thought I didn't know who it was, but I was like, here's the thing, I could be a dick and be like, fuck this guy, or I could be like, you know what, I actually kind of agree with him, so I'm gonna make fun of myself and put it up. So that's how I felt about it, and I thought it was funny.
Either reaction would have been entirely warranted. Real quick, because I know that we got people who want to come on the network after us. Jody says, "Scoops, I think he means will the Eagles trade Brown?"
Nope.
Again,
I don't think so.
like I've said before, I think if it happens, I think it's a 2 this year and a 1 next year. I don't think that they accept anything less than that. He said, and then Kenny said, "I'd love to get a lot of content for Surge Sports. Mock drafts and free agency is perfect." Awesome.
Yeah, Kenny, I'll let you know what we're doing for our mock draft. It's the week before the draft, so it's somewhere around. So we'll let you know when we get closer. But yeah. So I haven't been able to announce crap because I've been so sick. So give me some time here, but I will announce some stuff coming up soon. So all right,
awesome.
well, thank you guys.
See you guys next week. Doubled up, it sounds like, on Thursday, March 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Rob time. Until then, enjoy the next week of WBC, spring training, and all else. And with that, Rob, Brandon, Scoop out.
Peace.